Chapter 620. When he returned home late at night and saw another man chatting enthusiastically with his wife, Li Fan was very jealous. Damn it. He felt uncomfortable in his heart. Li Fan was not a magnanimous person. He was very narrow-minded. Although the two of them were not officially husband and wife, it was at least close to the mark. What was the matter? They could not chat during the day, but they had to chat endlessly at night. Li Fan's simple "my wife" was actually very black-bellied. His words were concise and to the point, expressing his position in the family and his ownership of Murong Ying to the black-robed man. As for Murong Ying, she only rolled her eyes and did not say anything. This meant that she still acknowledged this identity in her heart. Li Fan secretly made a victory sign behind him. What was there to be afraid of? This was his home ground. When the black-robed man saw Li Fan, he was filled with fear and trepidation. This was the famous little overlord, Li Fan. It was said that he would often start a fight at the slightest disagreement. He would beat the other party up, and his reputation in the pugilistic world was ruined. What Golden Eagle castles in Wuchao, what Sima families Sima Fong, in any case, some of the famous pugilistic world figures had been beaten by Li Fan, and they were all defeated by his 7 gallant fist. He was ranked 88th on the pugilistic world celebrity ranking list. Li Fan already had his own position in the pugilistic world. There would probably be countless people who would challenge him in the future. However, those who challenged him would probably have to weigh their own strength and see if they had the strength of Yin Wuchao and Sima Fong, especially his 7 gallant fist, which had already reached the 8th rank of the divine skill chart. This kind of unparalleled divine skill would attract the coveting of countless people. I am Tengen, Shao Qingfeng of the Sword. Greetings, Chief Escort Li. The black-robed man was very respectful to Li Fan. He clenched his fists and bowed. Visiting late at night is very rude. Chief Escort Li, please forgive me. Not a problem, not a problem. Li Fan muttered in his heart. As long as he did not seduce my wife, everything else was fine. He was such a generous person. Go to sleep. Murong Ying instructed Li Fan. You were in such a hurry that you should have a good rest. No hurry, no hurry. I'm in high spirits. Li Fan sat down beside Murong Ying and looked at Tengen, who was leaning on his sword and smiling in the cool breeze. Tell me, why did you come here so late at night? If there's anything you need help with, just let me know. I, Li Fan, am a person who is passionate and willing to help others. Chief Escort Li, I came here late at night because of the devil cult. Tengen was very respectful. In this place, he was indeed just a small character. Li Fan, Murong Ying, which one of them wasn't a famous expert in Jianghu? Compared to them, he was still too far behind. If his martial arts were not as good as the other parties, then his attitude should be more respectful. Oh, solipsism? Hearing the name devil cult, Li Fan was shocked. That Lu Zhu even cheated him of the 4-elephant sword and a page of 9 Buddha Sutra. This debt, sooner or later, he would settle it. And that left law protector Song Fuya. He asked Yin Tiantian to investigate her information, but who knows where she went? This Yin Tiantian was not reliable at all. Recently, the devil cult has been eyeing my 9 Buddha Sutra. They have already spread the rumor that they are going to take away this page of sutra. The devil cult's power is getting stronger and stronger. They are all-pervasive and unscrupulous. It is really hard to guard against them. Tengen sighed, and my alliance leader Luo is also a proud and arrogant person. He is not willing to ask for help, and the elders in the alliance are worried about his safety. Thus, they let me use the name of the qualifier to travel everywhere and ask for alliance leader Morong's help. I understand. Your family's boss is not willing to ask for help from others. So, you came to ask for help privately. Li Fan nodded, but you can't do this. If your family's boss finds out, won't you be in trouble? My personal gains and losses are nothing, Tengen said magnanimously, but the alliance's gains and losses are the most important. If this page of 9 Buddha Sutra is taken away by the devil cult, they will have more than 3 pages in their hands. This is very disadvantageous to our martial arts world. The 2 big families in the martial arts world, Murong and Sima. Why don't you go to the Sima family and instead come to me, Murong Ying? Murong Ying asked straightforwardly. Last time, I fell into the devil cult's evil scheme. I'm afraid this matter has already spread. The dignified alliance leader of the martial arts world fell into a trap. This has some impact on Morong Ying's reputation. That's just because you fell into the evil scheme of the devil cult. Alliance leader Morong's martial arts are unparalleled in the world. If you make a move, the devil cult will definitely scatter. Don't underestimate Li Wei. Morong Ying sighed. Although she thought that she was invincible among her peers, she might not be able to defeat Li Wei. If Li Wei were 10 years younger, or if she were to train hard for another 10 years, Morong Ying believed that she would definitely be able to defeat Li Wei. Unfortunately, time gave Li Wei more chances. Ancient martial arts were different from modern martial arts. In modern martial arts, a young body was the most valuable asset. As for ancient martial arts, the longer one's internal energy was cultivated, the stronger they would be. That was why Morong Ying was weak now. She was already a genius, and all she needed was a bit of time. That Li Wei is indeed a powerful figure, but he probably won't come to the laughing sword-leaning breeze personally. Tangan said, he's arrogant and doesn't seem to care about the headquarters of the smiling sword breeze. I do want to help, but Luo Shuowu doesn't welcome outsiders. If I go this time, I won't have the right to go, and I might even get into conflict with Luo Shuowu. Forget it. Although he wanted to help, Morong Ying's identity was special, and he had to consider everything. She was the alliance leader of the Martial Arts Alliance, not a rising star like Li Fan. It was the most basic requirement for her to take care of every aspect of her work. Tangan seemed to be in a dilemma. He had come this time to ask Morong Ying to come out of seclusion. If Morong Ying didn't go, the headquarters might really be in danger. It's all right, leave it to me. Li Fan patted his chest and immediately took charge of the matter. He could tell that Morong Ying wanted to help, but she couldn't because of her pride. No matter what, they were a family. Since he was back, he might as well help them with this matter. No, you can't go. Morong Ying suddenly grabbed Li Fan like she was in an uproar. Li Fan was stunned for a moment, not knowing what Morong Ying meant. She changed her emotions too quickly. She wasn't like this in the past. What's wrong? You can't go. Chapter 621. Why? Why are you acting so weird? Li Fan couldn't understand Morong Ying. When did she lose her temper like this? She looked like a lunatic. Li Fan, how long do you want to mess around? Morong Ying glared at Li Fan. You've already caused such a big mess this time. Haven't you had enough? Morong Ying's words seemed to have a hidden meaning. Do you know what I did? Li Fan looked at Morong Ying with some surprise. Morong Ying said in a very unhappy tone, everyone knows what you did. Not bad. It seems like I'm quite popular recently. Li Fan laughed, almost making Morong Ying laugh until she was dumbfounded. What are you laughing at? Be serious. Morong Ying reprimanded him, and Li Fan put away his mischievous smile. So, you know about the Special Abilities Bureau? Li Fan, you are a martial fighter. You shouldn't be involved in the matter of mutants. Morong Ying felt that Li Fan was especially hated now, but she couldn't bring herself to hate him. Mutants have their own world, their own laws. We are different from them. We shouldn't have any contact with their world, nor should we interfere in any of their affairs. My brother is a mutant, and a group of people want to kill him. Li Fan and Morong Ying ignored Tangan, who was standing at the side, and began to quarrel. Tangan stood there abruptly, feeling very awkward. He didn't know whether to speak or not, so he simply acted like an invisible person and listened to the two of them quarrel. He couldn't intervene in this kind of matter, so he let these two gods play by themselves. A martial fighter should have the awareness and glory of a martial fighter. Morong Ying glared at Li Fan. You shouldn't have broken our rules. The rules are set by you. Why should I follow them? Li Fan was also very impolite. Do you want me to watch my brother die in front of me? Was that the rule that a martial artist should follow? If this is what you call a martial artist, then I might as well not be a stupid martial artist. Li Fan, watch your attitude. Morong Ying's true chi flowed around her body, and the surrounding tables and chairs were all blown to one side. The person standing before you is the Alliance Master of Wulin. Martial Alliance Master? What a joke, when have I, the little tyrant, been afraid of anyone. Li Fan also separated his arms, and with a shake of his body, golden true chi surged out, almost causing Tengen, who was retreating, to somersault. Motherfucker, these two people are too strong. Tengen wanted to cry. When immortals fought, the fish in the moat would be implicated. Li Fan, I really should teach you some manners. Murong Ying raised her right hand. Her index and middle fingers carried a sharp sword chi. She already has the strength of 9 dragons. One of her feet stepped on the threshold of a generation's master, and Li Fan only has the strength of 5 dragons. The difference between them is too big. But Li Fan did not have the slightest fear. He slightly raised his fists, ready to fight the tiger at any time. Brother-in-law, you're back? Just when the atmosphere between the two was about to explode, a lively figure suddenly ran out. Like a happy deer, she bumped into Li Fan's bosom. As if afraid of hurting her, Li Fan immediately retracted his true chi and hugged Murong. Little girl, are you trying to kill me? Hee hee, I missed brother-in-law. Murong giggled happily. I thought brother-in-law didn't want big sister anymore. Big sister missed you these few days and talked about you every day. Murong Ying had just stopped her cultivation. Hearing this, she immediately frowned. What are you talking about? When did I talk about this guy? When big sister was bathing yesterday, Murong Ying covered her little sister's mouth. Tengen also let out a sigh of relief. Damn, luckily Murong's little girl is here. Otherwise, these two people might really fight. But if they really fight, how many moves can little tyrant Li Fan take from his fiancée? But Li Fan is the person who defeated Sima Fong. Sima Fong's strength is not weak either. After all, after reaching great heights in strength, the difference of 2 to 3 dragons can be made up with exquisite martial skills. But these are not important. The important thing is whether they are willing to go to the main hall with me or not. Looking at Xiao Ai's face, I won't lower myself to your level today. Murong Ying crossed her arms and looked at Li Fan condescendingly. There is no choice. This girl is tall to begin with, more than 7 meters. Now that she is wearing a pair of high heels, she is more than 8 meters tall, slightly taller than Li Fan, who is 78 meters tall. Anyways, you are not allowed to go anywhere. Stay at home obediently. For the next few days, you better not show your face in the Jianghu. Brother-in-law, you just got home. Where are you going? Hearing that Li Fan is going to leave again, Murong Ying was a little surprised as she grabbed Li Fan and asked, I plan to go to the main hall of Leaning on the Sword and Laughing Breeze. Although Murong was black-bellied in the past, the current Xiao Ai makes Li Fan unable to get angry with her. Li Fan rubbed her head. Some things must be done. Must be done? Are you talking about Kunlun Mountain? Hearing this, Murong was very excited. Then I also want to go. Kunlun Mountain is known as the Immortal Mountain, but it is actually a mountain hidden in the ice and snow. It is quite mysterious. The main hall of Leaning on the Sword and Laughing Breeze is located there. You don't know how to be serious. Xiao Ai, when did you learn to be so mischievous? Murong Ying glared at Murong Ai. Xiao Ai, who has always played the role of a good girl in front of everyone, almost exposed her true nature just now. I'm sorry, sister. I was just a little curious. Xiao Ai's eyes reddened, tears welled up, and she said with some grievance. Okay. You were still a child. I was a little harsh just now. I'm sorry. Sure enough, Murong Ying likes this kind of trick the most and immediately apologized to Xiao Ai. Li Fan clearly saw a flash of cunning in Murong Ai's eyes. This lass was too good at playing this trick. If I didn't know her well, I would have fallen for it too. Murong Ying, it's your business whether you want to go or not. But it's my business whether I want to go or not. Li Fan said, I think you know better than me what kind of organization the demonic cult is and how terrifying it is. If they succeed this time, Li Wei will get more copies of the 9 Buddha Sutra. I don't want this guy to become stronger. I still want to beat him up. Li Fan clenched his fists. Calm down. The current you is no match for him at all. Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, besides, you can go to other places, but not the main hall of Leaning on the Sword and Laughing Breeze. Why? Li Fan felt that Murong Ying was being too serious. Because I just can't. Moronging said fiercely. Chapter 622. Moronging scolded Li Fan, like she didn't want him to go to Kunlun Mountain no matter what. Li Fan felt a little weird. Was there some unspeakable secret in Kunlun Mountain? Was that why Moronging stopped him and didn't want him to go? Li Fan couldn't understand it. At the start, Tengen also couldn't understand why Moronging would be so against the main hall of Smiling Sword-Leaning Breeze. But when he thought about it, he understood what was going on. The main hall of Smiling Sword-Leaning Breeze was in Kunlun Mountain. Kunlun Mountain had a girl who was in charge of the alliance. Her name was Luo Shuewu. Luo Shuewu was different from normal girls. Her eyes were high, and she was really arrogant. There were many guys who wanted to conquer her, but none of them were able to conquer her heart, including Long Fengyu, who was riding on the west wind. He also pursued Luo Shuewu passionately. Although he didn't know if Long Fengyu really liked this Ice Queen, or if he wanted to recruit her into the alliance, all sorts of attacks were something that normal girls couldn't handle. But Luo Shuewu didn't move at all. This Ice Queen only left a sentence. If he wanted to win her heart, he had to win the heart of the alliance leader of the martial arts world. This condition was really harsh. Pretty much everyone knew what kind of person Moronging was. Luo Shuewu was the Ice Queen. She was basically the Ice Demon King. Born in the Morong aristocratic family, she had the looks of a country-toppling beauty. She was also the unrivaled alliance leader of the martial arts world. Who knew how many guys pursued her? But after so many years, she didn't have any feelings for anyone. This Moronging and Luo Shuewu became two ice-cold girls who were equally famous in the world. But now, Moronging already had a fiancé, which was little tyrant Li Fan. This way, Luo Shuewu's vow was broken. No wonder Moronging didn't let Li Fan go to Kunlun Mountain. She was jealous. Alliance Master Morong, don't worry. What our Alliance Master Luo said that day was merely a joke. Don't take it seriously. Tengen cupped his hands at Moronging and spoke his mind. Moronging blushed slightly after hearing this. This Tengen was really meddlesome. Who asked him to say that? However, Li Fan was a little confused. What was going on? No matter what you say, I do have to make a trip to Kunlun Mountain. Li Fan was also a stubborn donkey. Once he set his mind on something, even 10 donkeys wouldn't be able to pull him back. Moronging looked at him and said, "All right then, be careful when you go." Li Fan was stunned. What the fuck? What the hell? Wasn't the change in attitude a little too fast? Li Fan wanted to curse, but he thought that even if he scolded Moronging, there wouldn't be any good results. So he simply swallowed his words. It's late. Let's rest for the night. Moronging waved her hand. Tomorrow morning, I'll arrange for a carriage for you. Since Moronging had agreed, Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. She even arranged a room for Tengen to stay for the night and set off together the next day. Li Fan took a shower and wanted to enter Morongying's room to sleep, but she chased him out. We're already an old couple. Why won't you let me go? Li Fan was helpless. It's not convenient for me these days. Moronging rolled her eyes at Li Fan and pushed him out of the door. Then, she closed the door. Li Fan thought to himself, what does this mean? Could it be that Morongying's period came? From what she said, once her period is over, we can share the same bed. When Li Fan thought of Morongying's beautiful legs, he couldn't help but lick his lips. Fuck, I'm looking forward to it. Son-in-law, your room hasn't been occupied for a long time. Although it's clean, it's still lacking some liveliness. After Tai Zhu gave her supper to Li Fan, she coquettishly winked at him. She was only wearing a simple chiffon nightgown, and there was no need to mention how sturdy her muscles were. She said shyly, son-in-law, can sleep in the same room with me. Aya, I'm so embarrassed. Tai Zhu covered his face and stamped his feet, causing the house to tremble as he ran out. Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. Damn, I'm scared to death. This Tai Zhu is too domineering. I can't take it. Tai Zhu's skill is unparalleled in the world. Just as Li Fan was about to close the door, enjoy his supper, and then have a good sleep, there was movement from the door again, and a figure came in. At first, Li Fan thought it was Tai Zhu. He was about to scold her when he suddenly found a petite figure with a fragrant wind. As the figure bumped into his bosom, Li Fan had already guessed who came out. He reached out his hand and gently stroked Morong's forehead. Little girl, why did you sneak in? Aren't you afraid that I'll eat you? Li Fan closed the door and asked the fragrant little girl in his bosom with a smile. Come on, eat me. Morong had an unconvinced look as she provoked Li Fan. I just had a nice bath. It's suitable for me to taste. Calm down. Li Fan didn't dare to provoke Morong. Otherwise, he wouldn't know who would eat who. This little girl often took advantage of his room when there was no one else. She would sneak in and eat with relish. He didn't know where she got this unique hobby from. However, since he was quite comfortable, Li Fan didn't stop her. He felt that he had fallen into depravity. He was being played by his sister-in-law. No, it was in his mouth. You should go rest early. Li Fan felt that he should drive this little girl back. If this goes on, something bad will happen. He always felt that no matter what happened tonight, it would be a bit unstable. Moreover, the continuous fighting made Li Fan a little tired. Finally, he returned home and wanted to have a good sleep. Li Fan's idea was good, but it also depended on whether Morong Love agreed to it or not. Brother-in-law, don't be in a hurry to drive me away. Let me show you something good. Morong Love mysteriously took out a small black box from behind her. What is this thing? Brother-in-law, this thing is very powerful. Morong Love proudly said, this is called the 7 Emotions and 6 Desires Harmony Goo. It is a super goo worm that I used many methods to gather. This goo, as long as brother-in-law hit a woman's body, that woman will later worship you as her master. Otherwise, she will suffer from the goo's backlash and suffer unbearable pain. How can you refine this kind of thing? Li Fan was surprised. Didn't you say that you will no longer touch those strange things? Hey, when did I say such a thing? Morong Love said with a smile, I have a purine body. If I don't practice this kind of sinister skill, wouldn't it be a waste? Morong Love's righteous look actually made Li Fan a bit speechless. Indeed, in terms of evil skills, Morong Love has a unique talent. In this world, only I and you can refine this unique 7 Emotions and 6 Desires Harmony Goo. Chapter 623. Why? Morong AI's words were a bit strange, making Li Fan confused. To cultivate this 7 Emotions and 6 Desires fusion goo, you need to feed it with your own blood. Morong AI introduced her 7 Emotions and 6 Desires fusion goo as if she was very familiar with it. Ordinary people's blood cannot feed these 7 peerless poisonous insects. Only my blood can make them grow, and the only thing that can make them mature is your blood. Morong AI pointed at a small socket on the box. As long as brother-in-law puts your finger in and let them suck your blood, they will mature and recognize you as their master. What the heck? Why does it sound so strange? When Li Fan saw the pitch-black hole, he felt a little creeped out. If Morong AI was not wrong, there should be 7 kinds of amazing goo hidden here. Letting these 7 insects bite him and suck his blood. This Li Fan could not do it. No, I am not used to being bitten. Li Fan had just finished speaking when his legs felt cold. His pants had been taken off. He saw Morong AI holding the black wooden box with both hands, her small mouth already starting to practice the divine breathing clouds and breathing fog technique. What are you doing? Li Fan's breathing quickened a little, and he felt his blood gathering in one place. To nurture goo, I need to let my body reach the highest state. This Morong AI had something in her mouth. Her words were also punctuated, but Li Fan could understand. What the heck? What kind of goo is this? It is so amazing. And it needs to reach high for it to be effective? But at this point, Li Fan felt he should sacrifice himself and research the so-called 7 Emotions and 6 Desires fusion goo. In order to research knowledge, many seniors had sacrificed their lives. He should use them as role models and contribute everything he had. Let the waves come even more fiercely. In this villa under the moonlight, a man's growl was suddenly heard. Li Fan's finger was also stuffed into the box. His finger was in pain. It was obvious that something had bitten it. Immediately after, the wooden box suddenly burst into a bloody light and exploded into pieces. In a wisp of black smoke, 7 poisonous insects of different shapes crawled along Li Fan's arm and onto his body, hiding in his clothes. Just like that, they were concealed. What the hell? However, Li Fan did not feel afraid. It was as if these 7 poisonous bugs were his children. 7 poisonous bugs wandered all over Li Fan's body, but Li Fan didn't feel uncomfortable at all. At this moment, Morong spat out the food in her mouth, then pulled Li Fan and begged, brother-in-law, please give me one. Damn, isn't this for training slaves? What are you using it for? When Li Fan heard Morong's unreasonable request, he was shocked. The 7 emotions and 6 desires goo is one of the 3 mystical goo in the world. Morong hurriedly explained, it's impossible that it can only be used to control people. There are many other uses. What other uses? Li Fan didn't understand. A few bugs, other than being used to poison, what other uses do they have? The 7 emotions and 6 desires goo can strengthen a person's 7 emotions and 6 desires, stimulating a person's acupuncture points, thereby improving a person's fighting strength. Morong winked at Li Fan, seemingly a little excited, and each goo has a special kung fu. As long as this goo is planted in the other party's body, the other party can automatically comprehend this kung fu. It sounds like it's used for strengthening. Li Fan muttered, there are side effects. Morong's smile became wider. The most powerful part of this 7 emotions and 6 desires goo is that if it's within 100 meters of its master, it will be connected to the master's desires. The 7 great goo will feel the master's 7 emotions and 6 desires tenfold. So, if the master dies, the 7 great goo will also die because of a broken heart. Li Fan was shocked. This thing is too powerful. Awesome. No, I can't let you use this thing. Li Fan suddenly shook his head. Although it can increase one's fighting strength, the side effects are too big. This kind of thing cannot be used by Xiao AI. Brother-in-law, it's fine as long as you don't die. Morong's gaze was firm. I want to be brother-in-law's human goo. The so-called human goo is to plant the goo on a person's body, using human blood to raise the goo. Morong had all kinds of strong requests, but Li Fan couldn't bear to do it. Brother-in-law, don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? You're young. Naturally, you can ignore it. How can I do that? I have to think for you. Li Fan was also very speechless. If this thing harmed Morong's body, not to mention Morong Ying, he wouldn't be able to let himself go. Oh, brother-in-law, don't worry. Morong's AI pulled Li Fan's arm. I definitely understand the use of the goo better than you. Brother-in-law, plant the human-faced arachnid in my body. As the little girl spoke, she took the initiative to take off her clothes, revealing her white, jade-like skin. Although this wasn't the first time he saw it, it was still too beautiful to behold. It was like the most perfect work of the heavens. How could anyone not like such a beauty? Li Fan swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Morong's AI laughed again and again, brother-in-law. If you want to look, feel free to look. Let's get down to business first, okay? Damn, why am I acting like a pervert? Li Fan immediately corrected his attitude. Then he extended his hand and pointed at Morong's AI. A black spider the size of a fingernail ran out and jumped onto Morong's AI's body. It landed on top of her chest and pressed its entire body inside. Morong's AI's eyebrows slightly wrinkled. This insect seemed to be embedded in her left chest, unable to come down. But at the same time, her body began to soften and a large amount of fluid began to be discharged from her body. Morong's AI's entire body fell onto Li Fan's body. Her breath smelled like orchids and her skin was boiling red as if she had a fever. Xiao AI, are you okay? Li Fan was very worried. The venom of the goo was heaven-defying. A single drop of venom could kill an elephant. Now, it was completely embedded in Morong's AI's chest. Could Xiao AI bear it? Brother-in-law, I think I can feel your caress, your temperature, your heartbeat. Morong's AI's voice carried a little bit of excitement and a little bit of pain. It was a very complicated emotion. So comfortable, so happy, damn, so perverted. Li Fan could only ridicule, but he was helpless. Fortunately, It didn't take long for Morong's AI skin to slow down. Her breathing stabilized as if she was returning to normal. Chapter 624. Hee, brother-in-law. When this little girl spoke, she seemed a bit lazy. Li Fan looked at her and felt that although she looked lazy, her body seemed to carry a kind of very dangerous aura. Brother-in-law, do you feel that Renjia has suddenly become more charming? Morong AI suddenly pushed Li Fan down on the sofa and then sat in his arms. She leaned close to his ear and sweetly said, Brother-in-law, Renjia is now your slave. At that moment, Li Fan's blood was madly concentrated. He shamefully had such thoughts. What the fuck? This weird girl. Did she really want to push him down? Li Fan's eyes turned red. He simply grabbed this girl's soft waist and lifted her up. Then he aimed at the right position and was about to push her down again to carry out a health exercise that he had never done before. But at this time, Morong AI stretched out her hands and pressed down on Li Fan's thighs, blocking his next move. Li Fan was very puzzled. His breathing began to become rough. This girl actually wanted to play tricks again? Brother-in-law Renjia can give it to you, but not now. Then when can it be? Li Fan was a little anxious. His hands slowly pressed down, but Morong AI was also using her palms to resist his strength. Brother-in-law, Morong AI hurriedly explained, Renjia is now cultivating a poisonous insect. Because I have a purine body, I can refine myself into a top-grade furnace. These words, Li Fan seemed to have heard from someone. Oh, that's right. It was from the Medicine King Valley's Gates Elder. He wanted to refine Morong AI into a furnace and then enjoy her. Renjia is refining herself into a furnace. This will take some time. When it is done, brother-in-law can eat Renjia. That way, brother-in-law can obtain a cycle of power for free. A cycle of power for 60 years. This temptation was not light at all. A 60-year cycle's worth of power was enough for him to have 6 or 7 dragons. Coupled with his current strength, he could directly step into the ranks of a generation's grandmaster. But on the other hand, the temptation was not small, especially since the bullets were already loaded. When it comes to cultivation, it's better to take it step by step. As Li Fan spoke, he exerted more strength in his palm. However, Morong twisted her waist and used some unknown skill to break free from Li Fan's grasp. Like a water snake, she slid to the side. Brother-in-law, we can't be impatient. Morong loved to dissuade Li Fan. In order to make a furnace for brother-in-law, I have to eat all kinds of poisonous insects every day. It's so disgusting. Brother-in-law, you can't let my previous efforts go to waste. Fuck, then don't seduce me. Li Fan was on the verge of breaking down. I've already taken off my pants, and you're telling me this? Hee, I like to see brother-in-law unable to stop himself from doing it. Morong's words made Li Fan speechless. Xiao AI, sooner or later, I'll wear you. Hee, Xiao AI is looking forward to that day. Morong winked at Li Fan. Li Fan was so depressed that he couldn't say a word. As he was about to drive this infuriating little girl out, there was a knock on the door. Li Fan, are you there? Fuck? Li Fan almost collapsed. Morong Ying? It was the middle of the night. She should be taking care of her aunt on the bed. Why the hell did she come here? Without hesitation, Li Fan pointed under the bed. And after Morong AI was infected by the human-faced arachnid, her movement technique had become much more superb. With a screech, she tunneled under the bed. She let the bedsheet hang down to hide her figure. Li Fan waited for the bedsheet to stabilize. At the same time, he hurriedly put on a pair of shorts. Then he opened the door. Morong Ying seemed to have something to say to Li Fan. But when she saw Li Fan's appearance, 2 blushes flew up to her cheeks. She immediately spat. Bro, Li Fan said, I'm wearing underpants, huh? He lowered his head and discovered that he was indeed wearing underpants. However, he was in a state where he was ready to go on a killing spree. He cut a sorry figure. Although Morong Ying knew very little about the matters between men and women, she at least knew a thing or two about a man's lifeblood. It's the middle of the night. You're not sleeping. You're here in heat. Morong Ying seemed to want to scold Li Fan, but her words didn't have any strength. Li Fan understood that at this very moment, the girl hiding under the bed must be stifling her laughter. That girl's favorite thing to do was to watch a play. Wife, you misunderstood. I'm practicing fist techniques. Li Fan immediately said in a righteous tone. Practicing fist techniques? What fist techniques? Morong-ing was stunned. This is a fist technique that has been lost for a long time. I was able to comprehend it by chance. I was very lucky. What kind of fist technique is this? This fist technique is called the left and right inter-fighting technique. Huh. Morong-ing was even more stunned. It sounded very awesome. This fist technique tests the degree of cooperation between the left and right hand. It was a set of combination punches, but there were dozens of fancy fighting styles. I heard that a long time ago, there was a left and right inter-fighting fist technique competition, but as time progressed, this fist technique gradually declined. Nowadays, very few people use it in front of others. When you practice fist techniques, your lower part, why is it so high? Morong-ing still didn't quite believe it, because when I practice fist techniques, my body's qi and blood boil. Li Fan continued to explain seriously, when my qi and blood boil, my lower part will naturally follow. I'm a man. When I practice with you women, it's naturally different. Li Fan's nonsense was getting more and more ridiculous. I see. Morong-ing seemed to be a little convinced. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that his ability to make up nonsense was getting better. Then why don't you show me? In the end, Morong-ing's next sentence made Li Fan dumbfounded. I want to see how powerful this left and right inter-fighting technique is. Morong-ing very seriously looked at Li Fan. Her eyes seemed to have a little expectation. No way. Li Fan's brain was also fucking fast as he immediately rejected Morong-ing. Why? If you have the time to hide it from me? Morong-ing seemed to be a little angry. Of course not. But this left and right inter-fighting technique needs to be done moderately every day. If it's too much, it will greatly deplete the body's qi and blood. I've already done it many times today. You suddenly came and wanted to see me practice fist techniques. If my qi and blood were to be depleted, wouldn't it be a loss? Li Fan's nonsense was made up in a serious manner. That's right, I was being rude. Morong-ing nodded her head and apologized. If that's the case, then I won't see the fist technique. Li Fan felt relieved. She had caused enough trouble. It was time for her to leave. Anyway, you're not here for the fist technique. Sit down, let's have a chat. Morong-ing sat on the bed and even patted the seat beside her. Chapter 625. Li Fan blinked his eyes, a bit dumbfounded. Fuck, what's going on? My fiancé wants to chat with me on my bed, and my sister-in-law is lying under the bed watching the show. This trick is a bit deep. What do you want to talk about? We haven't talked for a long time. Since we have the chance today, let's have a good chat. Morong-ing said. Otherwise, you'll have to leave tomorrow. Li Fan was in a dilemma, whether to chase her away or chat for a while. Chase her away. With Morong-ing's character, she definitely won't leave. Forget it. Let's sit down and chat for a while. Li Fan had to sit down, although he felt wronged by Morong's love. But this girl likes to watch the show, so he didn't feel wronged. He sat down and looked at Morong-ing beside him. Suddenly, he felt that these two sisters are quite similar. Li Fan felt someone was touching his feet. Fuck, even at this time. Morong is still so naughty when she loves this girl. She's quite bold. Isn't she afraid that her sister will find out? Li Fan held back his temper and didn't lose his temper. Li Fan, I know you're quite independent, but sometimes you should listen to my opinion. After all, I've been in the pugilistic world for a longer time than you. Morong-ing said this in a pleasant tone, as if she was purposely trying to make Li Fan feel at ease. It seems that tonight, she really came to chat with Li Fan. Her attitude is quite good. Yes, you're right. Li Fan nodded. This Morong-ing's words make sense. And so sometimes I want to help you, not to restrain you, because I also know that you're not the kind of person who can be restrained. Morong-ing sighed, as if regretting this point. But this time, you really shouldn't interfere with the mutant's matter. Bai Linluo is also a mutant. Do you want me to watch him die? Li Fan asked. You know that's not what I meant. Mu Rongying immediately explained. I won't stop you from saving Bai Linluo. But you destroyed a tribunal and saved a special abilities bureau. Do you really think you're just protecting your brother? As simple as that? His words silenced Li Fan. In the end, it wasn't as simple as Bai Linluo. This time, it was a group of very powerful people who targeted the mutants. Mu Rongying said, their goal is to completely overthrow the Special Abilities Bureau and deal with all the mutants. If you interfere, you'll be breaking the rule that martial artists don't interfere with the secular world. You will drag the entire pugilistic world into a terrifying bloodbath. Wife, have you ever thought of a question? Li Fan asked calmly. In the past, there were people in the martial arts world who often went to the secular world to make trouble, right? For this reason, a special department called the Embroidered Uniform Guard emerged. Yes, the Embroidered Uniform Guard specializes in dealing with such people. Yes, I'm not the first person to break the rules of the pugilistic world. Moreover, don't you think this incident with the Special Abilities Bureau is a warning? What warning? A warning to us. Li Fan lowered his voice and said word by word. Once the cunning rabbit is dead, the hound is cooked. The Special Abilities Bureau used to have a lot of military exploits and privileges are very high. But now, the Special Abilities Bureau has declined and lost its right to speak. Moreover, because of its special power, it's not under the jurisdiction of the government, so it was purged. What about us? What about us, the pugilistic world? What's the difference between us and the Special Abilities Bureau? Wife, have you ever thought that maybe one day, the fate of the Special Abilities Bureau will be our future? This time, it was Mu Rongying's turn to be silent. She was a little powerless to refute Li Fan's words. The fate of the Special Abilities Bureau. Li Fan actually saw a warning from it. Yet, he, the leader of the pugilistic world, didn't notice it at all. This was really a failure. What you said makes some sense. Maybe I should make some preparations. Mu Rongying said. But there's one thing we're different from the Special Abilities Bureau. Mu Rongying reminded Li Fan. Our pugilistic world has a huge historical background. In our big families, there are also many people with great power in the world. This was indeed something the Special Abilities Bureau didn't have. Li Fan nodded and agreed with Mu Rongying's statement. But since they can purge the Special Abilities Bureau today, they might really be able to purge the martial fighters next time. I should prepare early and observe their movements. Li Fan, you're getting more and more mature. You're beyond my expectations. As if you're so mature. Li Fan couldn't help but tease. Aren't you also hopping mad when I annoy you sometimes? Bastard. Mu Rongying immediately became angry when she heard Li Fan's words. This guy was really a pure bastard. You know best whether I'm a bastard or not. Li Fan laughed. Wife, I'm done talking. It's late. Let's go to bed. Go to hell. Who wants to sleep with you? Mu Rongying stood up angrily. The pugilistic world is dangerous. Think about it yourself. With that, Mu Rongying flicked her sleeves and walked to the door, ready to leave. Li Fan also breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that he finally sent her away. He was waving goodbye when Mu Rongying suddenly turned her head and left behind a sentence. Tomorrow, be more careful. With that, Mu Rongying left. Li Fan finally let out a sigh of relief. Just now, it was really dangerous. Li Fan pulled up the bedsheet and found that Mu Rongying, this girl, had fallen asleep under his bed. This was a wonder. You really won. Li Fan couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. He quickly woke this girl up and forced her to go back to her room to sleep. This girl still wanted to sleep in his room. How could that be possible? He was a man of honor. Li Fan was lying on the bed. He was too tired. After several days of running around, his mind had been tense. Now that he was in his house, Li Fan closed his eyes and relaxed his mind. After a while, he fell into a deep sleep. But he didn't know that on the roof of his house, a woman was sitting cross-legged. This woman wore a blindfold, a black genie guard uniform, and a saber hung on her waist. Heartless saber used she. Under the moonlight, she looked like a painting. But at this moment, a figure quietly landed behind her, standing at the other end of the house. "Sorry, this road is blocked." Yushi had actually sensed the figure behind her. She said coldly, "The qinggong of the genie guard can only be sensed by their own people." The person replied. Both of them used thousand-mile sound transmission to talk, as if to avoid waking people from their dreams. "However, Li Fan must die under my thunderbolt palm tonight." Chapter 626. Ouyang Lei raised his right hand, and a red light flashed in his palm. In the last battle, he suffered a great loss at the hands of Li Fan, and he still couldn't forget it. This Li Fan, he must die. Whether it was for the mission or for himself, he couldn't let this person live. "With me here, don't even think about succeeding." Yushi silently stood up, with her back facing Ouyang Lei, one hand on her black saber. Li Fan's name is hanging high on the black roll. Ouyang Lei said, "Do you still want to protect him? The black guards can act according to their own will." Yushi was very firm. "You can't change my mind with just a few words." "Humph." The 4 black guards of the embroidered uniform guard have always been at odds. Ouyang Lei looked at Yushi, his eyes flashing with cold light. "But considering that we are colleagues, I have never made things difficult for you. But today, don't force me to kill." "You can try," Yushi said, slowly turned around, looked at Ouyang Lei, and then gently pressed a finger on her eye mask, slowly pushing it up. "Are you crazy?" Ouyang Lei was shocked. "You want to remove the seal? Aren't you afraid of losing 10 years of your life?" "In order to protect Li Fan. So what if I have to die a horrible death?" Yushi smiled, and her smile seemed to have a different meaning under the moonlight. Her clothes slowly fluttered in the night wind, and a black saber was already unsheathed, hanging by her side. And on her body, there was a black true energy slowly emerging. Behind Yushi, there seemed to be a black devil, that oppressive aura, enveloping people, making it hard for them to breathe. Cold sweat flowed down Ouyang Lei's forehead. Yushi was the heartless saber, one of the 4 black guards. But among the black guards, her strength seemed to be the lowest. But the black guards were the most unique existence among the embroidered uniform guard. If Yushi didn't have some trump cards, how could she climb to this position? Yushi was different from the others. It was said that she was adopted by a mysterious high-ranking member of the embroidered uniform guard. Ordinary embroidered uniform guards practiced the minor phaseless magic. This was an evil art that could be learned quickly. Once mastered, it would become abnormally powerful. It was the undefeatable foundation of the embroidered uniform guards. But this minor phaseless technique is not something you can cultivate just because you want it. A new banner captain of the Brocade Guard could only practice the 1st or 2nd level of martial arts. And after he was promoted to Zhengqi, he could practice the 3rd or 4th level of martial arts. As for the Baihu, they could train in the 5th or 6th level of martial arts. The Qianhu could cultivate to the 7th level, while the commander could cultivate to the 8th level. Only great commanders could cultivate the 9th level mental cultivation method. They were supreme existences. However, only the 4 great black guards knew that there was an even more powerful and mysterious figure above the great commanders. No one knew his name. They only knew that his nickname was the Little Jade Emperor. His strength was divine, and he cultivated the great formless divine technique. This great formless magic was many times stronger than what they had cultivated. It was said that Yushi had cultivated this martial art since she was young, but she went berserk. In the end, the demonic art entered her body and damaged her meridians. From then on, Yushi's skills regressed. She went from a super expert who had 1 foot in the door of a grandmaster to the peak of perfection. However, her demonic art was still there. The Little Jade Emperor used a rare meteorite jade to make a special eyeball for her and embedded it in her eye socket. It was called Sin. He used this eyeball to seal her demonic art. If she needed to, she could activate this demonic art at any time. However, because her meridians were damaged, once she activated the demonic art, her lifespan would be reduced by 10 years. To Yushi, Sin was a last resort to save her life. Ouyang Lei did not expect that Yushi would go to this extent for the sake of Li Fan. This is no longer a simple protection. She, the heartless saber. Did she fall in love with Li Fan? How heartless was this heartless saber? Back then, she found her biological parents, but both of them were fugitives from the embroidered uniform guards. Without saying a word, Yushi chopped off the heads of the two men. Calm down. Ouyang Lei felt the existence of sin. His heart beat faster, and he broke out in a cold sweat. Yushi stood there. Her missing eye was now a red gem. The gem emitted a red glow, which complemented the black true chi behind her, bringing about an unprecedented pressure. More black true chi lingered on Yushi's black saber, making it look even longer, like a 5-meter-long giant blade. Ouyang Lei, do you want to fight? Yushi took a step forward, and Ouyang Lei's heart skipped a beat. Crazy, you're really crazy. Ouyang Lei gritted his teeth in anger, but he did not have the courage to step forward. I won't let this matter rest. Ouyang Lei retracted the red light in his palm and said, the embroidered uniform guards will not let this matter rest. Yushi, think about how to explain it. With that, Ouyang Lei leaped into the air, using his qinggong, and quickly disappeared into the night. The black qi on Yushi's body slowly dispersed, and a trace of blood could be seen on the corner of her mouth. Yushi casually wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, and then put the black saber back into the scabbard, and continued to sit cross-legged on the roof. The moon was beautiful. When Li Fan woke up, it was already the next day. He had not slept so well for many days. This time, he slept very happily. Taizhu had already packed his luggage for him, and then personally sent Li Fan and Tang into the car outside the door. Where's Morong Yang? Li Fan found that Morong and her sister were not there, so he asked. Eldest miss went out early in the morning. Taizhu replied. She brought the gold and silver swordsman back to Morong Villa. I heard that she was going to bring people to attack a branch of the devil sect. Oh, I see. Li Fan said that Moronging had always been like this. Although she said that she did not want to help, she still went to attack the branch of the devil sect to relieve the pressure on Li Fan's side. As expected of Alliance Master Morong, you are really thoughtful. Tang Yin was very smart, and he also understood Morong Ying's intention, so he hurriedly flattered her. Regardless of whether Alliance Master Morong could hear it or not, he just needed to take pictures first. Where's Second Miss? Why didn't Xiao Ai come? Second Miss hasn't woken up yet, and seems to be a little tired last night. Young Master, do you want me to wake her up? Oh, then let her sleep a little longer. Li Fan waved his hand. He was just asking. Since she was sleeping, there was no need to disturb her. Brother Tang, let's go. Okay. Thank you for your hard work, Chief Escort Li. I, Xiao Qingfeng, will remember this favor. It's okay. It's okay. As Li Fan got into the car, he laughed. What do you mean by favor? There's no such thing. Later, just give me the money for the escort. Chapter 627. Tang Yin was stunned for a moment. He didn't understand what Li Fan meant. Look at you. You're not on the road. Li Fan said in all seriousness, Hero Tang, I run an escort agency. You want me to help you protect the goods, so you have to pay me, right? If you don't pay, you want me to work for free? Li Fan's words made Tang Yin speechless. Damn, what he said is not without reason. Tang Yin was in a daze. Li Fan said again, but since it's our first time working together, I should show some sincerity and make friends first. How about this? I'll give you a 50% discount. This time, I'll charge you half the price. 100,000 yuan. What do you think? At this moment, Tang Yin didn't know why, but he wanted to cry. It was probably because he was distressed about the money. Brother, money is a bastard. If it's gone, we'll earn it again. Li Fan comforted Tang Yin. People, when it's time to spend money, they must spend it. For example, hiring an escort. What's my identity? I created the 7 Hero Fist, which is ranked 8th in the Divine Skill Manual. As for me, look, I'm now ranked 88th in the celebrity list. You're Luo Shuewu, Alliance Leader Luo. How many are they ranked? More than 100. Although Luo Shuewu's ranking was not high, her overall strength was very strong. Especially because of her strong personal charm, there were many experts gathered around her, many of whom were ranked in the top 100. This ranking had a certain value for reference, but it couldn't be completely based on the above. However, at such a young age, Li Fan was able to single-handedly kill his way into the top 100, which was truly an honor. He was able to climb up the rankings with his own strength. Sima Fong and Yin Wuchao were both his stepping stones. You say, for an expert of my level, it's only 100,000 yuan to help you. Is it expensive? It's not expensive. Tang inexplicably said it, but he immediately regretted it and wanted to slap his own mouth. That's right. Look, I know that Hero Tang is a reasonable person. Li Fan happily laughed. Tang wanted to slap his own face more and more. Take this 100,000 is not a large sum to me, the sword-reliant Xiao Qingfeng. Tang gritted his teeth and said, as long as head bodyguard Li can help us get through this crisis, I'll give you 100,000 yuan. How could such a large alliance be lacking in money? Li Fan chuckled, feeling even more pleased in his heart. As long as Li Wei didn't go, Li Fan would be confident in dealing with the demonic cult. Then I'll have to rely on Chief Escort Li. Tang cupped his hands at Li Fan, but Li Fan seemed to say something carelessly. Lil Tang, I also have the famous Big Dipper, Flying Dragon, Yinjing's 11 cavalrymen, and our 4 extraordinary cockroaches. Although their prices aren't as high as mine, they are still experts. Should I choose to? The corner of Tang An's mouth twitched. I think it's better to forget about it. Your escort agency does have many experts, but you alone are more than enough. Hero Tang, don't be in such a hurry to turn me down. Look, in order to meet the various needs of our customers, our agency has specially formulated a few packages that you can choose from. Li Fan said with a smile. One of them is the most luxurious Emperor package. You can choose 4 members of the Yinjing's 11 cavalrymen and 2 junior Heavenly Kings to escort you. This package is priced at 3 million yuan, which is a great discount. The corner of Tang An's mouth twitched again, and his heart was probably bleeding. 3 million yuan. Although the sword reliance Xiao Qingfeng was rich, money did not grow on trees. He definitely had to spend a lot of money to feed so many people. How could he be so wasteful? This package may indeed be a little expensive, but it doesn't matter. But don't worry, we still have economy packages. Li Fan said and offered a new plan to Tang An. I'll designate 1 member of the Yinjing's 11 cavalrymen and myself for a total of 150,000 yuan. What do you think? The difference between the economy package and the Emperor package is a little too huge. Tang An felt like breaking down. That, head escort Li, young hero Li. Tang An couldn't help but ask, you are the son-in-law of Morong's family. How could you be short of money? What are you talking about? Li Fan was immediately unhappy when he heard that. How much money Morong's family has, even if they have a vault, has nothing to do with me. I earn my own money to spend. What's so shameful about that? No. Young Hero Li is a model among the young heroes. You are worth learning from. Tang An hurriedly cupped his hands and flattered Li Fan. It would be great if the young people nowadays were as ambitious as young Hero Li. Unfortunately, the kids nowadays only want to take fewer detours. All the men want to marry a fair, rich, and beautiful woman immediately. I'm different from them. Li Fan could also hear the flattery in Tang An's tone. This guy's flattery was too strong. Young Hero Li, we will have to ride horses from here. The two of them had already arrived at the ancient road of camels and horses. There is a rule in the pugilistic world. All pugilistic people must ride horses when they arrive at the ancient road of camels and horses. Murong Ying had already prepared 2 Fergana horses for the two of them. All right. Li Fan had already matured quite a bit. He wasn't like the ignorant youth from back when he first started practicing martial arts. He was unhappy with everyone and wanted to break any rules. There is still quite a distance from here to Kunlun Mountain. Tang An reminded Li Fan, young Hero Li, let's travel through the night. All right, let's go. Li Fan and Tang An rode the Fergana horses together. After riding for 3 days and 3 nights, they finally arrived at the ancient road near Kunlun Mountain. After 2 more mountains, we will see Kunlun Mountain. Tang An pointed with a gratified expression. If Alliance leader Luo knew you came, I wonder how she would react. What reaction can she have? She doesn't know me either. Li Fan mumbled in his heart. I will go look for Smiling Sword Breeze's fellow sect members. Young hero Li, you can go to the inn in front first. I will look for you later. Tang cupped his hands and said, All right. Li Fan was also a little tired. Then I will go and stay. You can look for me later. He rode a fast horse and arrived at the inn alone. Immediately, a waiter came out and led this good horse to feed fodder. Li Fan walked into the inn and saw the innkeeper standing at the front desk drowsily. Innkeeper, give me a better room. There is only one lower room left. Do you want it? The innkeeper liked to ignore him. Oh, then I will go to another inn. Li Fan was a little angry. Fuck, did he think his home was the imperial palace? His words were too uncomfortable. How could he treat his customers like this? Ha, go and find one. The innkeeper grinned. This area of Tin Li is already full. Recently, Smiling Sword Breeze has started to recruit new members. There are too many people coming. Li Fan frowned slightly. At this moment, someone beside him shouted, Lower room it is. I want it. Chapter 628. Li Fan turned around and saw a familiar person standing beside him. He was dressed in luxurious clothes with a sword hanging on his waist and a stack of cash in his hand. His expression was one of complacency. This guy, Li Fan would never forget him. Pa. Li Fan suddenly struck out with his palm, but his opponent used the 8 trigram steps of the 8 trigram school and took a step back, dodging Li Fan's palm. Brotherly, why are you so angry? That person was smiling while playing with a black jade fan in his hand, gently waving it like a noble son. He turned to look at the innkeeper and said with a smile, Innkeeper, give this person some herbal tea to calm his anger. Lu Zhu, you still dare to show your face? When Li Fan saw this guy, he was furious. Hand over my 4 elephant sword and the 9 Buddha Sutra. Li Fan reached out his hand to grab Lu Zhu, but Lu Zhu flicked his black jade fan and shot a black poisonous needle straight at Li Fan's forehead. Great sage star picking. Li Fan caught the poison needle with 2 fingers and pinched it in his hand. Lu Zhu, you are still the same. Li Fan looked at the poisonous needle that was glowing with blue light and couldn't help but sneer. It's not like Brotherly can't take it. I know what I'm doing. Lu Zhu shrugged his shoulders. Besides, Brotherly was the one who hurt me first. I just reacted subconsciously to save my life. Lu Zhu, what kind of trick are you playing? Li Fan looked at Lu Zhu coldly. Laughing Sword Breeze recruitment, let me have a try. Lu Zhu said with a smile. Interesting. Li Fan looked at Lu Zhu from head to toe. As a Devil Sect disciple, you went to the Golden Eagle Castle's marriage contest and even came to the Laughing Sword Breeze recruitment. Lu Zhu, it seems like your position in the Devil Sect is not low. This Devil Sect disciple must be very busy. You flatter me. My status in the Devil Cult is really not high. That's why I have to work so hard to get promoted and raise my salary. Lu Zhu replied with a smile while Li Fan clenched his fists. All right, since you've delivered yourself to my doorstep, I won't stand on ceremony. Today, you can leave behind the 4-symbol sword and the 9 Buddha Sutra. I do have the 4-symbol sword with me. If Brotherly wants it, I will give it to you. As Lu Zhu spoke, she took the sword from her waist and threw it to Li Fan. Li Fan caught it. Li Fan was a little surprised. He handed over the 4 elephants' sword so casually. As for that 9 Buddha Sutra, I naturally can't bring such a precious thing with me. Lu Zhu said, when we return from Kunlun Mountain, I will naturally take it out and give it to you. How about that? What kind of trick are you playing? Li Fan frowned and looked at Lu Zhu. There's no trick. I'm not the main force of the Devil Cult's attack on the leaning sword on the breeze. I'm just here to join in the fun. Lu Zhu shrugged his shoulders. Don't tell me that you, the dignified little overlord Li Fan, are afraid of me? Afraid. I'm scared to death. Li Fan directly said, You, this guy, your martial art is not good, but your head is full of evil ideas. Even if I'm more powerful and can beat you, I can't open your brain and see what kind of evil ideas you have in your head. All right. Lu Zhu seemed to be particularly helpless. Since Brotherly doesn't believe me, then just kill me. Then, see if you can find that 9 Buddha Sutra on my body. Li Fan frowned. It's better to stay by Lu Zhu's side and see what kind of trick he is playing. Li Fan made up his mind and asked the shopkeeper, "Shopkeeper, give me another room?" "Sorry, this is the only room." The shopkeeper shrugged his shoulders. Lu Zhu opened his black jade fan, covered his mouth, and laughed. "Brotherly, it's really unfortunate. The last empty room in this town has been reserved by me. Brotherly, you can only sleep on the street for the time being. If you need, I can give you a quilt. There's no other way. Who told me to be so kind?" "Oh, it's okay." Li Fan snatched the room card from Lu Zhu's hand. "I can squeeze with you and live in the same room?" "No way." Lu Zhu was somewhat panicked. Li Fan secretly laughed. "Humph, he must have some crafty plot and is afraid to expose himself in front of me. We're all men. Why not? Didn't you tell me to follow you? I have to stick close to you until you give me the 9 Buddha Sutra. You're too overbearing." Lu Zhu angrily looked at Li Fan, as if he wanted to eat Li Fan. "How am I overbearing?" Li Fan raised his eyebrows. "You're the one who told me to follow you, but you can't live in the same room. This is a king-sized room. This is an inn. What king-sized room?" Li Fan rolled his eyes, rest assured. "I'm not interested in men. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. After a tiring day, let's take a bath and sleep." You. Lu Zhu angrily stomped his feet, but Li Fan already took his room card and went upstairs. Lu Zhu frowned and asked the shopkeeper, "Shopkeeper, are there any other rooms?" "Only the stable is left to sleep in." "Fuck your sister." Lu Zhu almost swallowed dung to commit suicide. Who wants to sleep in the stable? He had no choice but to follow Li Fan upstairs. In any case, he only stayed for a day. Tomorrow morning, he could go to Kunlun Mountain. When Lu Zhu went upstairs, he left a gap in the door. Li Fan was not there, but he could hear the sound of running water coming from the bathroom. This Li Fan really trusted him that much? Lu Zhu saw 2 swords hanging on the side, 4 symbols and hero. If one of these 2 swords were to be thrown into the pugilistic world, it would set off a terrible reign of terror. Li Fan, this guy, recklessly wasting God's gift, hanging it on a wall that's still covered in moss. Speaking of which, this inn was really shabby. No wonder it was a low-class room. Not to mention the dirty and broken walls. The bed is also very small. How is this a king-sized bed? This is clearly a standard bed. This width is probably the width of 2 military beds. No way. I'm going to take this bed for myself. Thinking of this, Lu Zhu directly jumped onto the bed and lay down. He decided to sleep with his clothes on and occupy the bed first. But he felt that his body was sticky. This weather, the surroundings were humid, and after a day's journey, he sweated a lot. It was really uncomfortable. It was better if he did not think about it. But once he thought about it, he felt even more uncomfortable. "Bastard! When are you going to finish bathing? I want to bathe too." Lu Zhu shouted at the top of his lungs. "Soon." Li Fan's lazy voice floated out. After a while, he directly walked out, wrapped in a towel. Lu Zhu felt that her whole body was stiff. At that moment, she felt that the blood in her veins had stopped flowing. Li Fan's body was quite good, without exaggerated muscles, and the lines were very good. Chapter 629. Lu Zhu felt herself swallowing a mouthful of saliva. "It shouldn't be like this. This is too evil. Lu Zhu, you have to calm down." As Lu Zhu watched Li Fan walk over, she felt her heartbeat slowly increase from a sudden stop. "What are you looking at?" Li Fan saw Lu Zhu's eyes were slightly dull and could not help but ask. "No, nothing." Lu Zhu averted her gaze and touched her slightly burning cheeks. "Fuck, you're not gay, right?" Li Fan suddenly thought of Yin Kai, that pervert. He could not help but shudder. "What are you thinking about?" Lu Zhu immediately understood Li Fan's meaning. She quickly jumped up and exclaimed, "Don't think nonsense. I don't have that kind of thought. I just envy your good figure." "Huh. Of course your figure is good when you practice martial arts. Don't tell me your figure is bad." "Humph, don't worry about it. Lu Zhu angrily said and rushed into the bathroom. This guy. He can't be gay, right? Li Fan lied on the bed and could not help but mutter. But now was not the time to think about this. Li Fan was really a little sleepy. Lying on the bed, he was drowsy and fell asleep after a while. When Lu Zhu came out of the bathroom, she was dressed neatly and saw Li Fan was already asleep on the bed. Fuck, you're sleeping so soundly. Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? Lu Zhu took out her black jade fan and pointed at Li Fan on the bed. Humph. He suddenly coldly snorted. You this guy. Even if you're asleep, I'm afraid you're still 120% vigilant. I won't fall for your trick. Lu Zhu put down her fan and seemed to be ready to sleep, but she looked left and right, as if she didn't know where to lie. Bastard. Don't you know to leave a place for me? Lu Zhu was half dead from anger. This annoying Li Fan. He is simply too annoying. But now is not the time to kill him. Humph, I won't let you die so easily. I'll keep you alive to torture you. Lu Zhu gnashed her teeth as she stared at the sleeping Li Fan, her teeth itching with hatred. It could be said that anger rose from the heart, and evil grew from the side of the courage. Lu Zhu forcibly suppressed her anger. Now was not the time to turn hostile. Endure. You must endure. Even if he couldn't bear it anymore, he still had to bear it. Lu Zhu wrapped herself up even more tightly, and then carefully lay down on the bed. However, Li Fan had shamelessly placed a big character on the bed, which made Lu Zhu extremely upset. How could she sleep like this? Wasn't this making things difficult for him? Li Fan, aren't you being too selfish? Lu Zhu had no choice but to curl up into a ball and lie on the edge of the bed, trying his best to keep his distance from Li Fan. However, the bed was too small. Even if he wanted to hide, there was no other place to hide. Lu Zhu could only sigh and try to keep herself still, obediently leaning there. Really? Why didn't everything go according to plan? Lu Zhu thought in her heart. Everything that she had planned was ruined. She had been on the road for a few days and was a little tired. Her mind was groggy, and she felt a strong sleepiness like a wild beast that had been released from its cage, crazily pouncing on her. Lu Zhu's eyelids became heavier and heavier. Soon, she closed them and slowly fell asleep. It was late in the night. The moon was hanging high above the willow tree. Li Fan and Lu Zhu suddenly opened their eyes at the same time and looked at the ceiling. Li Fan was still fine, but Lu Zhu suddenly found himself like a kitten, leaning on Li Fan's arms, sleeping soundly. Lu Zhu's face turned red. He was too shameless. He hurriedly sat up and gently patted his face. Li Fan covered Lu Zhu's mouth, motioning him not to make a sound. Lu Zhu also knew what the situation was, but with Li Fan's hand covering his mouth, it was a little uncomfortable. Lu Zhu suddenly had a feeling that he really wanted to bite Li Fan's hand. But wouldn't that make him a puppy? Lu Zhu painstakingly endured it in the end. It was better not to lower himself to this guy's level. Damn it. Lu Zhu was gnashing his teeth, as if he wanted to eat Li Fan's flesh and drink Li Fan's blood. Li Fan didn't know what Lu Zhu was thinking. He was now concentrating on listening to the movements outside. Just when Lu Zhu felt a little suffocated and was about to bite Li Fan suddenly pressed Lu Zhu's head down on his crotch. Lu Zhu was shocked, then ashamed and resentful. He wanted to fight Li Fan to the death. But Li Fan also lowered his head and lay on Lu Zhu's body. A saber light flashed, leaving a deep saber mark on the wall beside them. Lu Zhu was shocked. Who could this saber energy be? But Li Fan had already guessed this person's identity. He sneered, Fort Lordine, since you are here, why not show yourself? Hee, you are indeed a young hero. I didn't expect you to see through this old man's identity. The window was broken, and a figure jumped in from the outside and landed in front of them. This person was wearing a golden robe with a saber hanging on his waist. Although he was over 50 years old, he was still in high spirits as if he was in his early 30s. He was the Fort Lord of Golden Eagle Fort in Wuchao. Lu Zhu, this old man chased after you for thousands of miles. I didn't expect to have an unexpected harvest. The two of you, don't even think about leaving today. In Wuchao took out his saber and slashed at Li Fan's head. Humph. Li Fan snorted coldly. Who was he? How could he be defeated by In Wuchao in a single move? Li Fan stretched out 2 fingers and flicked In Wuchao's saber. Dang! In Wuchao's saber was deflected to the side. He was shocked. I haven't seen you for a few days, and your internal energy has improved so much? In Wuchao looked at Li Fan and was shocked. In just a few days, although his internal energy did not increase, it became thicker and more condensed. He was becoming more and more like a true martial arts master. In Wuchao was even more shocked that he did not improve as fast as Lin Fan after practicing martial arts for so many years. This old man knows. Before Li Fan could speak, In Wuchao shouted, scaring Li Fan. You must have practiced the 9 Buddha Sutra. Only then can your martial arts improve so much. Presumably, your so-called 7 hero fists is also an evolution of the 9 Buddha Sutra. Brat, hand over my 9 Buddha Sutra. Otherwise, you will die without a complete corpse today. As he spoke, In Wuchao raised his saber and slashed down at Li Fan. Li Fan carried Lu Zhu and jumped to the side. The saber slashed the wall of the inn in half while Li Fan and Lu Zhu jumped to the roof above. The 2 swords were sucked up by Li Fan using the dragon toad's absorption of water. He seemed to be worried about Lu Zhu and hung the 2 swords on his waist. Chapter 630. Die. In Wuchao did not waste any time. He raised his saber and slashed at Li Fan. In Wuchao took a step forward and took a bow stance. At the same time, the long saber in his hand drew an arc. In an instant, a crescent moon appeared in front of Li Fan and spread out in a fan shape. Li Fan pressed down on Lu Zhu's head. The 2 of them lowered their heads at the same time. The saber grazed past their scalps and cut down a row of small trees on the ancient path behind them. Following that, the saber slashed down on the ground, leaving a long ravine. The bluestone ground could not withstand In Wuchao's saber at all. The moonlight was beautiful, but it was filled with killing intent. In Wuchao stood in the middle of the ancient town with a saber in his hand, looking like a god of evil. Hey, give me a sword. I'll help you deal with him. Lu Zhu was thrown to the side by Li Fan. When he saw that In Wuchao was charging at him aggressively, he couldn't help but shout at Li Fan, as if he wanted to help. But Li Fan didn't even turn his head and just scolded him. Stand at the back. Lu Zhu stomped his feet in anger. However, when he saw Li Fan's back, he could only obediently hide at the back. Hey, if you really can't do it, I can help you. Lu Zhu took out his black jade fan and gave it a few pats. However, Li Fan did not pay attention to him at all. Instead, he pulled out 2 swords, held them in his hands, and drew 2 beautiful sword flowers in his hands. Ha, Li Fan, do you think that with 2 swords, you can block this old man's treasured saber that kills? In Wuchao laughed. 1 4 symbols and 1 hero. You'll have to leave them for me today. What a waste in the hands of a brat like you. Come and take them if you can. Li Fan held the 2 swords and infused his primordial qi into them. The 2 swords glowed faintly as if they had been awakened. The 2 swords were like 2 dragons waiting to be awakened. They could soar into the sky at any moment and roam the world, looking down on all heroes. In this ancient town, one could even faintly hear the roar of a dragon. Brat, don't think that you're invincible just because you have 2 swords. In Wuchao sneered as he looked at Li Fan with disdain. Today, not even the magic treasure of a golden deity of the great all-embracing heaven can save you. Die. In Wuchao took another step forward. At the same time, the saber in his hand slashed out in a crescent. An ear-piercing sound of friction rang in his ears. It was as if the crescent moon was about to tear the night sky into 2. Even Lu Zhu couldn't help but feel a chill in her heart when she saw the saber aura that could tear through anything. This In Wuchao was indeed a famous senior in the pugilistic world. He was the one who took down Golden Eagle Castle Lordine. He was too powerful and domineering. Could Li Fan really resist In Wuchao's all-out attack? Last time, at the bottom of the well on Mount Hua, the 2 of them also relied on the indestructible corpse stitching technique to defeat In Wuchao. Previously, Li Fan had only won a few moves against In Wuchao by himself, But that was only due to luck. If Yin Wuchao used his full strength, it would be too terrifying. The crescent moon quickly arrived in front of Li Fan. It was as if the wind was howling in his ears. It was extremely terrifying. However, there was no fear on Li Fan's face. Instead, he was very calm. He held two swords in a reverse grip and used them to block in front of him, forcefully blocking the crescent moon. Clang! The two swords let out a violent collision sound, followed by a deafening dragon roar. The crescent moon seemed to have encountered an invisible wall and suddenly stopped for 2 seconds. Then, it shattered into several air waves and rushed out in all directions. The two swords in Li Fan's hands became even brighter. They trembled slightly as if they were resonating with the surrounding air. Golden Eagle Castle Lord, you're only a... Li Fan raised his head and looked at Yin Wuchao as he spat. How dare you? I think you're tired of living. Yin Wuchao was enraged. He raised his saber again, but Li Fan's movements were even faster. The vermilion bird flapped its wings and flew out of the four elephants' sword with surging true qi, charging straight at Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao frowned and raised his saber. The saber energy cut the vermilion bird into two. The vermilion bird wailed and dissipated in the air unwillingly. The hero's sword swung out a crescent moon sword energy, but it followed like a shadow and arrived in front of Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao laughed out loud and slashed the crescent moon sword energy with his saber. I knew you would use this move. It's just a small trick. Yin Wuchao was very pleased with himself. However, a crescent moon hung upside down in the sky and instantly flew in front of him. Yin Wuchao dodged in a panic. A cut appeared on his shoulder, and blood splattered out. Yin Wuchao flipped and stood up. He held his saber and frowned. He stared at Li Fan as if he wanted to see through Li Fan's soul. Yin Wuchao had already expected that the two swords would have special sword energy. However, he didn't expect Li Fan to be able to kick out a crescent moon sword energy. Just how strong was his true qi? Yin Wuchao, take this. Li Fan suddenly jumped up and slashed his sword towards Yin Wuchao's head. Yin Wuchao hurriedly raised his saber to block, but Li Fan slashed again and again. Yin Wuchao was in a very sorry state. Didn't you say it was one strike? Did I say that? Li Fan refused to admit it. Yin Wuchao was so angry that he almost vomited blood. I must kill this brat today. If you have the guts, don't use a sword. Yin Wuchao was so angry that he started to spout nonsense. What kind of hero are you to fight me with two peerless swords? Castle Lord Yin, you're really muddle-headed, Li Fan said as he put the two swords back into the scabbard. But I don't need these two swords to beat you. You're courting death. Yin Wuchao was overjoyed. Li Fan actually gave up on the two swords. Although he didn't take it to heart at the start, he could feel the pressure from the two swords now. Now was the chance to kill Li Fan. How could Yin Wuchao miss this opportunity? He directly slashed at Li Fan. Yin Wuchao's saber was said to be able to slay dragons and evil spirits. It could slash anything. Thus, Yin Wuchao was very confident that he could slash Li Fan into two and make him die without a complete corpse. However, Li Fan slightly leaned to the side and dodged Yin Wuchao's saber. At the same time, he formed a crane hand with his right hand and struck out. Clang! Crane! A huge force came from Yin Wuchao's saber. He nearly let the saber fly out of his hand. The webbing between his thumb and forefinger had already split open and blood was dripping out. At the same time, Li Fan's right hand grabbed a ball of qi and directly hit Yin Wuchao's lower abdomen. Golden Toad Spitting Pearl. Yin Wuchao felt like he was hit by a train. He felt like he was about to vomit out the food he ate last night. His body was suddenly sent flying. The clothes on his lower abdomen were all torn and his muscles were twisted. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels suffered heavy injuries. Chapter 631. Yin Wuchao spat out a large mouthful of blood, then watched as his blood flew away along with the roof, leaving him. Bang! Yin Wuchao fell heavily on the ground, and even his saber fell to the side. His mind was in a mess for a moment, as if he couldn't figure out what had just happened. However, he was an expert after all, and this bit of panic soon passed. When he came to his senses, he saw that Li Fan had already walked in front of him. Li Fan's figure seemed to be pressing down on his heart. He quickly flipped over and jumped up from the ground. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and pulled the saber into his hand with true energy erupting from his palm. In Wuchao became one with the saber and slashed at Li Fan. His entire body seemed to have turned into a saber light and slashed at Li Fan. This saber seemed to be able to cut the sky in half. Li Fan's body moved to the side, and the saber light immediately flew out and cut the stable behind him in half. The horses inside panicked as if a disaster had descended. In Wuchao appeared on the other side of the stable with his saber in hand and looked coldly at Li Fan. This gaze made Li Fan feel as if he had fallen into an ice house. This saber technique was indeed a bit domineering. Scared? In Wuchao chuckled. This is my trump card, Lightning Saber. This lightning saber was really fast. Moreover, it was sharp enough to shoot out like a flash of light. A dazzling golden light suddenly burst out from Li Fan's body. His true energy covered his body as if he was wearing a golden armor. The radiance of the armor illuminated the town, and even the moon was dyed gold. Golden armor. Li Fan stretched out his hands and grabbed the saber light with his bare hands. Clang! In Wuchao's saber was caught by Li Fan with both hands, and the surrounding ground cracked from the saber energy. In Wuchao's eyes were wide open as he held the saber with both hands and looked at Li Fan in astonishment. What martial art is this? The Seven Heroes' Fist. Li Fan smiled faintly. Impossible. This must be a martial art from the Nine Buddha Sutra. Hand over the Nine Buddha Sutra. In Wuchao roared again and again. The saber in his hand turned into a flash of light and circled around Li Fan, leaving a terrifying circular mark on the ground. However, Li Fan wasn't afraid at all. He raised his hands in front of him and punched out again and again, slapping In Wuchao's saber light away. With the protection of the golden armor, Li Fan was like a god of war who had descended from the heavens. He was majestic and unafraid of any evil aura. Li Fan's eyes suddenly lit up like a star in the night sky. He suddenly reached out with his left hand and grabbed In Wuchao's throat from the saber light. Snake capture. Li Fan grabbed In Wuchao's throat and smashed him onto the ground. Snake capture. What they were competing for was the agility of their hands and eyes. They were playing defense and counterattack. Li Fan had beaten In Wuchao into a miserable state. He was moving at high speed when he was suddenly intercepted by Li Fan. His throat was almost pierced. He was almost suffocated, but Li Fan's attack wasn't over yet. Li Fan raised In Wuchao's body into the air again and threw him up. In Wuchao's body fell towards the ground again. Li Fan suddenly raised his right fist and punched In Wuchao's waist. This time, In Wuchao felt like he was falling from the sky and into the mortal world. His lumbar vertebra let out a cracking sound. It was obvious that he was heavily injured. If it wasn't for his powerful internal energy and divine technique protecting his body, his lumbar vertebra would have been completely broken. In Wuchao's body was stretched out, and his waist was in great pain. He rolled down in a sorry state and felt like his waist was on fire. He couldn't use any strength in his legs. Li Fan, this old man will settle this debt with you. In Wuchao wasn't an idiot. He knew that he had underestimated Li Fan this time. As the saying goes, escape is the best strategy. Right now, he can only escape. In Wuchao threw out a ruthless sentence and turned around to run. He used his qinggong to step on a nearby house and disappeared into the night sky. Want to run? Li Fan sneered. This In Wuchao is really carefree. He can come and go as he pleases. Does he think this is a city gate? Li Fan was about to use the deer scamper to chase after In Wuchao, but was pulled back by Lu Zhu. Forget it. Don't chase a cornered enemy. Lu Zhu said, In Wuchao is a cunning old fox with a belly full of schemes and tricks. Who knows if he left on purpose and set up an ambush, waiting for us to walk into it. Although Li Fan doesn't like to be lectured, he has to admit that Lu Zhu's words made sense. In Wuchao is indeed cunning. He imprisoned the previous owner of the Golden Eagle Castle for so long, and no one in the pugilistic world knew about it. He even called In Wuchao young master modest. This is his ability. This kind of person is full of schemes. It is better to stay away from him. The most important thing now is to hurry to Kunlun Mountain. Lu Zhu opened her black jade fan, revealing the black brocade fan. On the fan, there are golden words. It is an ancient text. The body of the 28 beauties is limp. The sword at the waist beheads fools. Although there is no head, it secretly makes the monarch's marrow dry. Just this one line. Li Fan is a little surprised. Why is there a line from Jin Ping Mei on the fan? This Lu Zhu was probably also a distinguished scholar. While Li Fan is thinking, Lu Zhu waves the fan in front of him. Hey, did you hear what I said? Oh, what did you say? Li Fan suddenly woke up. He is so angry that Lu Zhu wants to step on him. I said, we should hurry to Kunlun Mountain. No, I still have to wait for Tangan. Li Fan and Tangan agreed to meet at the inn. The Tangan you were talking about, is he that person? Lu Zhu's eyes suddenly fell to the distance, and then he pointed. Li Fan followed his finger and looked into the distance. He immediately felt a chill. Fear is like a virus, quickly growing in his body. Anger is like a flame, burning from the virus. In the distance, on a towering ancient tree, several men's corpses are hanging. One of them is obviously Kunlun Mountain's disciple, Tang. His face is swollen and pale, as if he has been dead for some time. Li Fan's body slightly trembles. When he was asleep, the man who was full of energy and talked about leaning on the sword, laughing in the cool breeze, and falling snow dance with him, died just like that? Damn it! Li Fan grabbed Lu Zhu, his eyes burning with hatred. Did you kill him? How is that possible? I'll sleep with you all the time. Lu Zhu immediately argued, moreover, why would I kill him? Does he have the ability to stop me from going to Kunlun Mountain? Lu Zhu's words awakened Li Fan. If it is not Lu Zhu, there is no meaning in him killing Tang. Then, who did it? Li Fan fell into deep thought. Chapter 632. Tangan died in such an inexplicable way. Moreover, his death was extremely cruel. His intestines were cut open and then hung on this tree. It was like some kind of strange memorial ceremony. Tangan was killed like slaughtering a chicken or a sheep, as if he was sacrificed to the heaven and earth. Even if Li Fan's temper was much better now, seeing this scene, a chill ran from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. His whole body was cold to the extreme, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Then, that anger was like a firecracker, instantly igniting Li Fan's anger. Like a volcano that suddenly erupted after a long silence, the rolling magma seemed to swallow everything. Who the hell would use this kind of method, angering both humans and gods? Li Fan was forcefully suppressing his anger. He felt as if there was a ball of fire burning in his stomach. This feeling was extremely uncomfortable. In this pugilistic world, there are 7 big monsters. Lu Zhu saw that Li Fan's anger was soaring. He did not dare to provoke Li Fan, so he honestly said, these 7 big monsters each have their own quirks. Just like your thief and escort agency's cat, she is one of them. Her quirk is to steal. And among the 7 big monsters, there is a person nicknamed Bald Eagle. His quirk is to kill. Lu Zhu pointed at the few people hanging on the tree with their intestines cut open and continued, look at these people. Their abdomens were cut open. Their intestines are flowing out, and they are tied with a strange knot. If I'm not wrong, in this pugilistic world, only Bald Eagle likes to use this kind of method. If there is even the slightest bit of falsehood in what you said, I will not forgive you. Li Fan looked at Lu Zhu. This one look made Lu Zhu's heart and soul almost fly away. Who is Li Fan? What kind of person is he? Not to say that he is one of the best, but his domineering aura can make people's heart jump. Lu Zhu was also scared. He obediently stood to the side, not daring to make a sound. At the same time, he was muttering in his heart, this Li Fan, how could he have me in his palm? I have obviously schemed against him many times. I am telling the truth. Lu Zhu's voice slightly trembled. Not a single lie. What Lu Zhu said was true, and there was not the slightest bit of exaggeration. Bald Eagle was indeed such a character. His name could even stop a child's crying if it got out. Okay, Bald eagle. I'll remember him. Li Fan sneered. That. This bald eagle might also be after the 9 Buddha Sutra. Oh. After all, he is also a member of solipsism. Lu Zhu laughed dryly, but at that moment, his vision suddenly blurred. Then, Li Fan arrived in front of him. At the same time, he grabbed Lu Zhu's neck and lifted him into the air. Cough, cough. You're crazy. Lu Zhu desperately kicked and hit Li Fan, but Li Fan remained unmoved. I knew that your solipsism sect doesn't have any good people. Li Fan's eyes emitted coldness. You solipsism sect people deserve to die. As Li Fan spoke, his hand tightened even more. Lu Zhu felt suffocated. Death was like a huge hand, wrapping around Lu Zhu, making him unable to escape. It was as if he was about to enter the darkness of death. Save me. Although Lu Zhu did not want to admit defeat, at this moment, he had no other choice. If he wanted dignity, he would not want his life. If he wanted his life, he would not want his dignity. Lu Zhu hesitated for a moment before deciding to take his life. However, Li Fan did not have any intention to be lenient. Instead, his hand tightened even more, about to strangle Lu Zhu to death. Lu Zhu suddenly spoke again. I can help you find the bald eagle. Li Fan swung his hand and threw Lu Zhu to the ground. If you can't find him, you will die in his place. Right now, Li Fan hates the people of the devil religion to the bone. This bunch of damn bastards, they are simply too heartless. This Tang had no enmity with them, yet he was killed so cruelly. This is simply intolerable. Li Fan has decided to avenge Tang. This bald eagle's life has already been recorded in the Book of Death. No, it can't be. Lu Zhu looked at Li Fan and bit her lips. This damn bastard. I must find an opportunity to teach him a lesson. Then let's not wait anymore. Let's go to Kunlun Mountain during the night. Lu Zhu patted the dust on his body and looked at the sky. When we arrive at Kunlun Mountain, the sky should be bright. All right. Li Fan did not refuse. If the bald eagle really went to Kunlun Mountain, I will also go there without stopping. Damn it, that Tang still owes me 100,000 yuan. If I kill him just like that, where am I going to get the money? Damn devil religion. This time, young master, and you are irreconcilable. Li Fan gritted his teeth as if he wanted to eat someone. Lu Zhu sighed. Seeing Li Fan like this, she felt that it is indeed a bit scary. The two of them pulled out 2 good horses that very night and directly went to Kunlun Mountain. After crossing 2 mountains, the majestic Kunlun Mountain appeared in front of them. A silver-white mountain range, rising and falling, is like a dragon lying on the horizon, waiting to leap into the sky and fly away. The top of the mountain is covered with ice and snow that never melts for thousands of years. Starting from the mountainside, there are lush green trees all the way down to the front of Li Fan and Lu Zhu. At this time, Li Fan is only wearing an ordinary red and black sportswear, with 2 swords hanging on his waist. His starry eyes seem to carry electric light, shooting toward Kunlun Mountain. Lu Zhu is following beside him. He is wearing black silk and gold-embroidered brocade clothes. At first glance, it is obvious that he is very expensive, giving off the feeling of a noble son. The 2 Fergana horses are galloping wildly in the night. The hooves of the horses step on the grass, splashing up the mud and shaking wildly behind. Li Fan, we have arrived at the foot of Kunlun Mountain. Lu Zhu glanced up the mountain and saw the pure white snow. It won't be long before we can go up the mountain. Yes. Li Fan also glanced at the snow-covered Kunlun Mountain, feeling a sense of mystery and oppression. The sword-leaning Smile Light Breeze really knows how to choose a place. He actually built the headquarters on Kunlun Mountain, which can be regarded as a kind of immortal aura. Perhaps that Luo Shuwu also thinks of me as a fairy from the 9th heaven. Li Fan muttered in his heart and couldn't help but laugh. Lu Zhu is a little uneasy. This Li Fan can't be thinking of killing me in the wilderness, right? Kunlun Mountain is so big. Where would a headquarters be built? Li Fan slowed down the horse, gently pulled the reins, and asked. Lu Zhu is still uneasy in his heart. In his mind, he has already imagined 100 ways to die. Just as he thought of Li Fan pressing him on the back of the horse and raping him to death, he was awakened by Li Fan's call. He turned his head and looked at Li Fan with some fear. His eyes, it is as if Li Fan can eat him. Chapter 633. Li Fan looked at Lu Zhu and saw the fear in his eyes. Why are you looking at me like that? It's not like I'm going to eat you. Big, probably. Hee. Lu Zhu didn't really believe Li Fan's words. Right now, he had no confidence. Where do we go up the mountain? Li Fan asked. Kunlun Mountain is so big. Where is the main hall of the Laughing Sword sect? Kunlun Mountain, which was connected to the sky, was a vast expanse of white. Even if they ran for 2 days and 2 nights, they still wouldn't be able to reach the end. Moreover, it was covered with white snow. It would be very difficult for a horse to run in such a place. In that direction? Lu Zhu pointed forward. Go up the mountain from here, and you will see the front hall of the Laughing Sword sect. That place is currently recruiting new martial artists. All the new martial artists must pass the front hall's test before they can enter the main hall. This is really troublesome. Li Fan looked at the distant mountain and subconsciously muttered, if we fight our way up, it would be much easier. Are you kidding? Lu Zhu was surprised. Fight our way up? Only the sect would do that, right? Ah, you're right. As if suddenly enlightened, Li Fan clapped his hands and nodded. That makes sense. After all, I'm a righteous person. I should go up the mountain in the style of a righteous person. Lu Zhu wanted to roll his eyes, thinking, now you know you're a righteous person? Humph, I said the wrong thing. In this world, how can there be any righteous person? How can there be a distinction between black and white? Some people kill people and say it's for the sake of the people. Some people kill people and say it's a waste of human life. This is morality. This is the rule. But can morality and rules sometimes weigh the pros and cons? What do you think we should do? Li Fan asked for Lu Zhu's opinion. No harm. Let's just beat them at their own game and go up the mountain to participate in the recruitment. Lu Zhu rolled his eyes and said, You're still thinking about this? Li Fan was a little surprised. People like us, if we go up the mountain, won't we be recognized? Brotherly, you can fool others, but you can't fool me. At this moment, Lu Zhu's courage grew a little bigger. He mustered up his courage and said, I know that you know how to change bones. Is it difficult for you to change your appearance? I came here this time to help Xiao Qingfeng overcome his difficulties and to find the whereabouts of that bald eagle. Li Fan immediately said, I'm not here to join the Laughing Sword breeze. No problem, there's no conflict. Lu Zhu explained, let's use an alias and sneak into the Laughing Sword breeze. Otherwise, if we were to enter rashly, they might not welcome us. Your guide is no longer around. This is the only way, right? Li Fan pondered for a moment. He didn't want to be a fool. If he was played by Lu Zhu again, he would lose a lot of face. He had just retrieved the 4-elephant sword. He couldn't let Lu Zhu cheat him of the hero's sword. He really had to be more careful when dealing with this guy who had no hair on his head. What are you afraid of? It's not like I can escape from your palm. Lu Zhu said, I already said that I'm just a small character in solipsism sect. You see, if I'm powerful, how could I always act alone without bringing a few lackeys with me? Solipsism sect, whether it's the higher-ups or the lackeys, in my eyes, they are all people who deserve to die. Li Fan said coldly, You see, with your appearance, how could I dare to provoke you? Lu Zhu rolled his eyes. You're a man. Why are you always acting like a sissy? You sissy, I'll introduce you to Yin Kai later. Li Fan thought for a moment and felt that something was wrong. Although Yin Kai looked like a gay, he didn't seem to be a sissy at all. Why would I have such a thought? This is really strange. Li Fan shook his head. He felt that he couldn't trust Lu Zhu too much. This person is a scary little devil. His words might not have any lethality, but it's like boiling a frog in warm water. By the time you realize that you've been tricked, it would already be too late. All right, since you don't believe me, then I won't care anymore. I'll listen to you. You can do whatever you want. You can also fight your way up the mountain. I'll risk my life to fight alongside you. Li Fan thought about it again and felt that he seemed to be a little timid and overly sentimental. All right, then we'll do as you say. Young master will be a person who laughs at the cool breeze with his sword. As Li Fan spoke, he kicked the horse's stomach with both of his legs, causing the Fergana horse to raise its hooves and start galloping again. Lu Zhu hurriedly followed behind him, afraid that she would be left behind. The two of them, one in front and one behind, galloped through the mountain in the wee hours of the morning. The sky started to turn white, and a smear of red appeared on the top of the mountain, causing the pure white snow to turn pink, giving off a feeling of elegance. The red light shone on the two of them, as if they were wearing a red coat. The two of them whipped their horses and quickly arrived at the mountainside of Kunlun Mountain. The front hall of the Laughing at the Cool Breeze with the Sword was located here. It was an ancient building with red walls and green tiles, with an area of about 200 square meters. At the very front of the front hall was a huge door, with 2 dragon pillars on top of a stone plaque with the words, "Laughing at the Cool Breeze with the Sword," written on it. On both sides of the door, there was a stone tablet with a poem engraved on it. On the left was, "Flying Snow and Freezing Sky, 10,000 Miles of Frost." On the right was, "Unstoppable Sword Chi, Slaying Demons and Eradicating Devils." Li Fan thought to himself, damn, it's not neat. These 2 poems are not neat, but they were given by the First Alliance Master, Lu Jinshan. Lu Zhu seemed to have a deep understanding of these things. At that time, Lu Jinshan had a supreme beauty by his side. Her name was Wei Fong. This woman was Luo Shuowu's ancestor. I heard that she was a woman as pure as ice and as clean as jade. In order to express his love for this woman, Lu Jinshan specially wrote this poem and gave it to Wei Fong. Looks like this Lu Jinshan's literary attainments are a bit lacking. Li Fan couldn't help but shrug his shoulders. Who is it that dares to spout such arrogant words and criticize our alliance master? Just as Lu Zhu and Li Fan were discussing this matter, 2 figures suddenly appeared from the side, descending from the sky. The 2 of them were wearing black robes, with the insignia of the Laughing at the Cool Breeze with a small golden sword on their chests. The 2 of them had an imposing appearance, and with one look, one could tell that they were not ordinary people. They were the 2 gate gods of the Laughing at the Cool Breeze with the Cool Breeze, Qing Feng and Ming Yu. The 2 of them were the guards of the front hall, guarding the door of the Laughing at the Cool Breeze with the Cool Breeze. They were the first checkpoint of the Laughing at the Cool Breeze with the Cool Breeze. Lu Zhu immediately dismounted and cupped his hands towards the 2 of them. My apologies, I am Lu Zhu, and he is Li Er. We are here to recruit new members. Lu Zhu's fame wasn't as great as Li Fan's, and Li Fan had already changed his appearance. Chapter 634. The current Li Fan, whose pseudonym was Li Er, was short and ordinary-looking. He looked like the kind that would be hard to find in a crowd. The pseudonym hadn't been decided yet. Now that Lu Zhu made up a name, Li Fan complained incessantly. Damn it, this name is too stupid. Oh, where are you 2 from? Which sect are you from? Qing Feng and Ming Yu glanced at them. Ming Yu seemed to be more cautious and asked, I'm a disciple of the Tang sect. Lu Zhu suddenly opened his black jade fan and waved it in front of him, and Li Fan, who was standing behind him, jumped off the horse to avoid being exposed. Let everything be natural. This is a disciple of the 8 trigram school. He's very good at 8 trigrams palm. Lu Zhu introduced Li Fan. Li Fan nodded and stretched out his right hand. Then he suddenly stabbed his palm into the tree trunk beside him. The willow tree was cut into 2 by Li Fan's palm just like that. This palm was indeed a kung fu of the 8 trigram school. Qing Feng and Ming Yu believed him immediately. Oh, you're 2 excellent disciples of the 8 trigram school from the Tang sect. Sorry for not recognizing you. After all, they were from a famous sect, so Qing Feng and Ming Yu were naturally much more respectful. I'm really sorry for talking nonsense about the chief just now. Please forgive me. Lu Zhu was very considerate in this aspect. His etiquette was very good. Even when he bowed, he used the standard 90 degrees. The 2 people opposite him could not find any fault with him. Instead, They felt that these two people were gentle and elegant, worthy of being from a famous family. Since you're here to recruit new members, this way, please. Qingfeng and Mingyu took out 2 black wooden tablets from their bosom and handed them to Li Fan and Lu Zhu. These are the wooden tablets for registration. They are carved from black pear wood. This black pear wood is a specialty of our Kunlun Mountain. I'll carve your names on it, and then you can join the recruitment. Thank you, senior brothers. Lu Zhu cupped his hands at them. Qingfeng and Mingyu were about to lead them in. Mingyu was more vigilant. She suddenly turned around and stared at Li Fan from head to toe. Why aren't you saying anything? Mingyu suddenly asked. Li Fan was a little unhappy, and with Lu Zhu, such a clever person, helping him settle everything, he was too lazy to talk. However, Li Fan was a little surprised by Mingyu's question. How should I answer? At that moment, this thought flashed through Li Fan's mind. He thought of many answers, but he eliminated them one by one. He's a mute. Lu Zhu suddenly answered for Li Fan. He seemed to have seen through Li Fan's thoughts, so he wanted to use these words to shut their mouths. Mute? Who were you talking to just now? Mingyu looked at Lu Zhu with even more vigilance. That's me talking. He can only use some simple gestures to talk to me. Lu Zhu's answer was flawless. Moreover, I have a bad habit. I'm not afraid of being laughed at by 2 senior brothers, but I like to speak up for my brother Li. You? Why are you speaking up for him? Mingyu frowned, and Qingfeng, who was next to him, gently placed his hand on the sword at his waist. It's like this. Lu Zhu suddenly began to speak, and his voice suddenly turned into Li Fan's. Senior brothers, what do you think? Not to mention Qingfeng and Mingyu, even Li Fan was a little shocked. Junior brother, you're so talented. Amazing, amazing. Mingyu cupped his hands towards Lu Zhu, but his eyes were on Li Fan's waist, and saw the 2 swords that he was carrying. This was indeed a little strange. Why would someone from the 8 trigram school carry 2 swords? Although the 2 swords had been wrapped in yellow silk by Li Fan, making them look more low-key, it was a little strange for one person to carry 2 swords. However, it was a little strange for one person to carry 2 swords. Moreover, the 8 trigram school only practiced palm techniques and footwork, so there was no need for treasured swords. Senior brothers, to tell you the truth, this brother of mine has a hobby, which is to collect swords. Lu Zhu began to smooth things over for Li Fan. These 2 swords are the best in his collection, and they are his life's love. So every time he goes out, he never leaves them, and he must carry them with him. I see. The 2 finally seem to let down their guard a little. You 2 may be able to make some achievements. Mingyu, I'll continue to guard the door. You take them to see Elder Wang. Okay. Hearing Qingfeng's instructions, Mingyu nodded and led the 2 all the way to the depths of the main hall. The area of the front hall was not small. After entering, they saw a clean courtyard surrounded by piles of snow, but the center was very clean, leaving only a floor of bricks and tiles. You 2 came at the right time. Today is the last day of recruitment, and we won't recruit anymore tomorrow. Mingyu said. Why? Lu Zhu was a little puzzled. I remember that the recruitment will last for 15 days, right? It's only the 8th day. Lu Zhu's calculation was accurate. Mingyu said with a sad face, we have no choice. Recently, the devil cult has been making too much noise, and they even want to take advantage of me. Devil cult. Lu Zhu seemed a little scared. They are coming? Mingyu and Qingfeng looked at each other and smiled. Then Mingyu patted Lu Zhu's shoulder. You are still young, but don't be afraid. If you can't pass the test, you will naturally go down the mountain. If you pass, you'll be a member of my sword reliance Shao Qingfeng, and you'll be under my protection. It is true that the devil cult is annoying, but when it comes to my Aegean Shao Qingfeng, they are just looking for trouble and seeking their own death. I am not afraid of them. Lu Zhu's voice rose by 8 octaves. I am a disciple of Tang sect. How can I be afraid of those devil cult demons? Ha ha ha, good. Qingfeng and Mingyu laughed, and then pointed at the brick and tile floor in front. Go there and accept the first round of test. Okay, then I will go first. Lu Zhu walked over and stood in the middle of the courtyard. You also stand there. Mingyu pointed at Li Fan. This first round is to test your endurance. I lean on my sword and laugh at the cool breeze. In this snowy Kunlun mountain, every one of us who lean on our swords must have the unswerving determination to withstand the cold. The two of you, take off your clothes now and freeze here for 6 hours. Li Fan said, this is a piece of cake. Without saying anything, he immediately took off his shirt and pants. Wearing only a pair of underpants, he stood in the middle of the freezing courtyard. With the protection of true qi, this cold was nothing to Li Fan. But Lu Zhu stood at the side, bashful and unwilling to take off her clothes. Lu Zhu, why don't you take off your clothes? Mingyu asked Lu Zhu. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Zhu. Chapter 635. Two Senior Brothers. You don't know. Lu Zhu said with some shame, I have a birthmark on my body, which is extremely ugly. But I care about my face, and I really don't like to show this ugly place on my body in front of others. Well, your clothes are not thick. Qingfeng and Mingyu were only in charge of the first round of assessment, so they didn't want to make things difficult for Lu Zhu. If that's the case, you can wear this unlined garment. But in this case, the two of you will have to wait for 12 hours instead of 6 hours. Do you dare? Hey, why not? Lu Zhu smiled. My friend is the same. 12 hours is nothing for us. Okay, then let's begin. Qingfeng and Mingyu looked at the time and then turned around to meditate in the small house nearby. Although they were in the small house, they could observe the outside through the window and keep an eye on Li Fan and Lu Zhu at all times. The 12 hours test was their first round. The sky was already bright, but the Kunlun mountain was still chilly. Li Fan stood there naked, not trembling at all. He was like an old monk in meditation, motionless. Lu Zhu, on the other hand, was different. He kept circling around Li Fan, not stopping for even a minute. The cold wind blew on the two of them, but it didn't bring them the slightest chill. The quality of these two people is not bad. Yeah, but it's a pity that Li Er is a mute. It doesn't matter if he's a mute, as long as he's healthy. Qingfeng and Mingyu chatted in the room. Although their voices were soft, they didn't know that Li Fan had heard them. Li Fan's internal force was so strong that no movement within 2 miles could escape his ears. How long are you going to walk? Li Fan asked Lu Zhu, who was walking back and forth, using the secret sound transmission technique. It's been 12 hours. Lu Zhu also transmitted his voice to Li Fan, and the two of them began to talk. Are you sick? Come on. It's very boring. Lu Zhu pouted. I have to stand for 12 hours. I'll go crazy if I don't move for 12 hours. I think you've gone crazy, guy. Li Fan was too lazy to pay attention to Lu Zhu. He simply sat there with his eyes on his nose and his nose on his heart. He crossed his arms and entered a meditative state. The zhenqi in his body began to circulate according to Li Fan's will, slowly circulating in a circular motion. After the minor heavenly cycle was the major heavenly cycle, and after the major heavenly cycle was the heaven and earth cycle. Li Fan let his true qi wander. He felt the changes in the circulation of his true qi. He felt as if he was traveling between heaven and earth. The feeling of transcendence was very joyous. Li Fan entered the realm of introspection again. Then, he stepped into the realm of nothingness and arrived at his visualization world. The 7 ferocious beasts were hidden in the clouds. He sat down cross-legged and was as quiet as a painting. On top of Li Fan's head, 5 streams of white smoke came out. It was the 5 flowers blooming. Fortunately, Qingfeng and Mingyue were far away. They only saw the white smoke coming out of Li Fan's head and did not notice that it was formed by the convergence of 5 streams. Qingfeng was still sighing. This kid actually has a single flower on his head. He has quite a lot of potential. Yes, it's indeed so. How enviable. The two of them could not hide the envy in their eyes. If they knew that Li Fan had the 5 flowers blooming on his head, they would probably commit suicide. They could not see it, but Lu Zhu could see it clearly. She was shocked. My goodness, the 5 flowers blooming. The 5 flowers blooming. In the entire Jianghu, how many people have such a realm? Li Fan, This guy. It's fine if he knows the alien bone transformation, but now he also has the 5 flowers blooming. He simply does not let others live. The human body has the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Li Fan has all of them. His future is limitless. Lu Zhu could not help but envy him to death. She was almost jealous. Why don't I just kill him here and now? No. I still have a lot of things to do. Killing him would be letting him off too easily. He had to make good use of him first and squeeze out all of his value. Yes, so what if his martial arts are good? I still have him under my control. Lu Zhu was no longer in the mood to leave. He also began to meditate. But Lu Zhu was not like Li Fan, who could meditate while standing. He found a clean place and sat down cross-legged. His hands formed a circle, and he began to meditate. When Qing Feng and Ming Yue saw the white smoke rising from Lu Zhu's head, they could not sit still anymore. These two people are actually martial arts geniuses. Sigh. Birds of a feather flock together. Ming Yue could not help but sigh. The two of them were geniuses. No wonder they were together. Luckily, these two people want to join my e-sword. If they join other alliances, it would be our loss. Yes, that makes sense. The two of them secretly rejoiced. Then, as if unwilling to admit defeat, they also began to meditate seriously. 12 hours later, the sky was dark. The cold wind blew on the mountainside, and the 2 Fergana horses were so cold that they kept stamping their hooves. Li Fan seemed to have set his biological clock. When the 12th hour passed, he suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were like the stars in the night sky, which made Qing Feng and Ming Yue, who were about to go out, tremble. This guy is a good material. It's a pity that he is mute. Li Fan patted Lu Zhu to wake him up. It's already been 12 hours? Once a person entered the state of cultivation, he would really not pay attention to the outside world. Lu Zhu stood up. Looking at the dark night, he subconsciously moved closer to Li Fan. You two have passed the first round of the test. Qing Feng and Ming Yue asked for their wooden plates. They carved their names on them and pressed a fingerprint on the back with their internal force. Take this and go to the main hall. The two of them returned their wooden tokens. It seemed that with this token, they would be able to enter the main hall. Thank you, senior brothers. Lu Zhu put away the wooden plates and cupped one hand in the other before his chest with Li Fan. It's the honor of my e-sword to have you two join us. Go now. The 4 waved goodbye. Li Fan and Lu Zhu whipped their horses and went all the way to the headquarters. Qing Feng and Ming Yue were quite pleased. When they were about to rest, there were suddenly many footsteps in the forest. Their eyes sharpened at the same time, and they pulled out their swords at the same time. Qing Feng even shouted angrily, "Who is visiting us in the middle of the night? Come out." As soon as he finished speaking, dense figures suddenly came out of the forest in front of the gate. These figures were all wearing black and red coats and holding all kinds of weapons in their hands. They stared at Qing Feng and Ming Yue like tigers watching their prey. Dogs of the devil cult. Qing Feng and Ming Yue looked at each other. The swords in their hands were full of natural qi, but in the next second, a figure swept past them. At the same time, his hands were like claws, and he directly took off their heads as if he were picking melons. Chapter 636. Li Fan and Lu Zhu quickly arrived at the main hall of the Sword Reliance. This place was different from the courtyard in the front hall. The first thing they saw was a towering high wall. The wall was 20 meters high and extended endlessly. Li Fan had no idea how far it extended. Looking at it, Li Fan was shocked. It was as if he had arrived at an ancient fortress. The outer wall of this headquarters is 20 meters tall and 10 kilometers long. It can be said to be like a small Great Wall. Lu Zhu whispered into Li Fan's ear. He seemed to be very familiar with these things. The sword-leaning Ice Queen Luo Xuewu relied on her personal charm and many experts around her. Among them, the most powerful are the 4 heavenly kings of Sword Reliance. Lu Zhu began to count her fingers. Among them, the most famous is the dragon crossing the river, Zhan Xiaotian. With a single move, flying dragon palm. He forced the heroes of the world to retreat. Then there was the Iron Tower King, Guo Mingming. He trained in the iron skin technique. He had a copper head and iron bones, making him invulnerable. Her nickname is Goddess of Beasts. She cultivates the beast-subduing art and is very good at xingyi boxing. Aren't there 4 people? And the last one? Li Fan could not help but ask. The last one seems to be called Night Rain Tower. Lu Zhu muttered, this person hasn't joined the Sword Reliance Guild for long, and he doesn't have much of a reputation in the Jianghu. But since he's already one of the 4 heavenly kings, he should have some strength. Interesting, Li Fan laughed. I believe that these 4 heavenly kings are quite capable. I really want to fight with them. Stop fooling around. These 4 people are very powerful. Lu Zhu reminded Li Fan. The 4 of them are much stronger than Luo Shu. Being able to control 4 subordinates who are stronger than her means that this person is either very capable or very charming. I want to meet her immediately. Calm down. We're new here. How could we possibly meet Yi Jian's Alliance Master right away? At most, we will see the Incense Master first, then the Hall Master, and finally the Alliance Master. Get lost. I don't have that much time. When Li Fan heard the name of the 4 heavenly kings, his heart began to itch. He pulled on the reins and couldn't help but say, why don't we fight our way in? You. Am I the devil cult, or are you the devil cult? Tui, what demonic cult? It's only me cult. Lu Zhu had fallen into a trap for herself. All right. Li Fan suppressed his restlessness and followed Lu Zhu to the bottom of the city wall. Who is it? The guards standing on the city wall berated loudly. Li Fan was shocked. My God, this guard's inner force is quite pure. Is Yi Jian really an elite? I'm here to recruit new people. Big brother guard, please let us through. Lu Zhu patted Li Fan's shoulder and raised the wooden sign with him. Even at such a distance, the guards could still see everything clearly. Their eyesight was far beyond that of ordinary people. Amazing. Li Fan couldn't help but praise in his heart. Let them pass. The guard opened the door and let Li Fan and the others in. Upon entering Yi Jian's headquarters, Li Fan and Lu Zhu couldn't help but take a few more glances. In front of them were paved green bricks, extending from their feet to a very far place, connecting to the mountain road in the distance, and then extending upwards. It was like a stairway to heaven, connecting to the mountains above, as though it was connected to the sky. The surrounding rows of pavilions and terraces were also laid out along the green brick road. They were arranged in picturesque disorder and orderly. The 2 rows of buildings were covered in snow, as though they were wrapped in a white coat, causing Yi Jian's headquarters to feel like it was in a dream or a celestial mirror. If I can live in such a place, it would not be a pleasure. Lu Zhu looked at the clean street in front of him, opened his black jade fan, and fanned himself twice. Are you crazy? Why are you fanning yourself on such a snowy day? Li Fan could not help but ridicule. What do you know? This is called feelings. Lu Zhu rolled her eyes at Li Fan, causing Li Fan to laugh out loud. But as a guard walked past them, he immediately retracted his smile. The 2 of them got off their horses and watched as the guard walked in front of them. Greetings, big brother guard. Lu Zhu and Li Fan cupped their hands together, and Lu Zhu did not forget to introduce Li Fan's special identity. I am Lu Zhu, and he is Li Air, a mute. Oh, come with me. The guard did not say anything else, and led the 2 of them on the green stone road, walking into the depths of the city. At the same time, in the territory of Sichuan, Fangrong Building, this was a very famous landmark in Chengdu. It was said that the boss was a famous businessman, one of the top 10 outstanding entrepreneurs in Chengdu. It was said that the guards of Fangrong Building were the best in Chengdu, each of them wearing a black and red uniform, well-trained and extraordinary. These people stood in 2 rows at the entrance of Fangrong Building, frequently attracting the attention of passers-by. But today, Fangrong Building received an uninvited guest. Murong Ying, wearing a blue and white qipao, slowly walked to the entrance of Fangrong Building. Behind her, there were only 2 people, plain-looking, silent, and silent. One carried a golden sword, and the other carried a silver sword. It was only 3 people, but they brought with them a powerful aura, causing a group of guards to be scared pale. Which of these guards did not know who Murong was? Take care of them, Murong ordered indifferently, and then walked into the building as if there was no one else around. Stop her. The guards roared, and each of them immediately circulated the true chi in their body, roaring loudly. Their words were like spring thunder, deafening, but the gold and silver swordsman made a move. The two of them pointed forward, and two sword rays shot out, one gold and one silver, attacking from the left and right, instantly piercing the throats of several guards. More guards fled in panic. They just realized one thing, and that was that they were far from being a match for these people. They were too strong. Just like that, Murong walked into the building. A man in a long red and black robe suddenly jumped from the second floor to the lobby. He fell from the sky like a dark cloud dyed red and crashed onto the ground. He raised his head and pointed the great spear in his hand at Murong as he roared. Murong, you've already destroyed 3 of my branches. Do you really think that there's no one in my sect? Oh, Murong stood there with a calm expression on her face. I'm sorry, apart from Li Wei, I really don't care about the people of your cult. Wow, how arrogant of you. I'm Yang Wuji, the Hall Master of the Divine Creek sect. People call me the Spear Dragon. I'm going to kill you today with this bright silver iron dragon spear. Spear Dragon? I think you're just a worm. Murong smiled with a trace of disdain in her eyes. You're courting death. Yang Wuji was enraged. He picked up the iron dragon spear and leaped forward, thrusting the spear towards Murong cheek. The bright silver iron dragon spear brought with it a silver lightning bolt, as if it was really a dragon that came out of the clouds, descending from the sky and pouncing towards her. Chapter 637. Seeing this move, the surrounding guards were all excited. Their hall master was indeed reliable. With this move, that Murong would definitely be injured even if she didn't die. Murong was still very calm. She just stretched out her right hand and gently opened it towards the silver spear. Pink cherry blossom petals immediately flew out. Behind Murong, there seemed to be rows of cherry blossom trees that fell countless pink petals. A gust of wind blew and swept these petals up. These petals hit Yang Wuji's body, tearing a large wound on his body. Moreover, this powerful impact directly sent Yang Wuji's body flying, slamming heavily onto the wall behind him. Bam! Yang Wuji smashed a hole in his body, but this was not the end. Murong completely opened her palm, turned her body sideways, and aimed her palm at Yang Wuji. More cherry blossoms hit Yang Wuji's body, like pink seawater. In the blink of an eye, Yang Wuji was completely engulfed. Boom! With a loud sound, the wall was pierced through. All the flesh and blood on Yang Wuji's body was also torn clean by the sword chi, leaving only a skeleton. Along with the dismembered corpse, it fell outside the wall and smashed into pieces. That bright silver spear also became scrap metal, fell to the side, and lost its luster along with its master. The remaining Devil Sect disciples were all frightened. The strength that Murong displayed was too strong. Hall Master Yang Wuji, who was like a god of war in their hearts, was beaten like a dog in one move. Don't leave a single Devil Sect disciple alive. Murong stood in the middle of the hall, incomparably domineering. The gold and silver swordsmen had already killed their way into the hall. Their gold and silver swords were like the scythe of the Grim Reaper, quickly harvesting the lives of those Devil Sect disciples. Towards these Devil Sect disciples, Murong did not show any mercy and killed without mercy. Soon, there was not a single living person here. Murong glanced at the corpses lying in the pool of blood, still so calm. Let's go to the next Devil Sect branch. Murong only had a few pieces of information about the evil cult's branches in her hands. She had been reluctant to use them in the past, and wanted to keep them for a long time to catch a big fish. But this time, for the sake of Li Fan, she swept through these branches one by one. While Murong was wiping out the devil cult's branches, Li Fan and Lu Zhu had successfully infiltrated Laughing Sword Breeze and arrived at the banquet hall. The banquet hall was very simple. There were only a dozen large round tables with simple dishes placed on them. Many men and women in black robes were gathered in the hall, eating dinner together. As the Alliance Master, Luo Shuowu naturally wouldn't eat in such a place. The four heavenly kings were not there either. There was only a bald man sitting at the front table, gnawing on a beggar's chicken. He twirled the saber in his hand a few times before finally pointing the saber at Li Fan. The steamed buns in the hands of the surrounding people were all cut into 4 pieces by his saber and fell onto the plate. This person's swift saber had already reached a certain level of power. But Li Fan did not hold back and suddenly made his move. Li Fan grabbed the one-eyed man's wrist with his left hand and slammed it on the table. His arm smashed into the table and the saber flew out of his hand and fell to the side. At the same time, Li Fan's right hand directly chopped the one-eyed man's cheek. Bang! The hardwood table was directly split in half by Li Fan. Everyone's food fell to the ground, but no one dared to make a sound. The one-eyed man was scared to the point of peeing, but when Li Fan reached out and pushed him, he obediently sat back down. His forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he did not dare to fart. But Li Fan's right foot was lifted up. When the table was broken, he used it to grab his plate. Everyone's eyes fell on him again. Lu Zhu swallowed her saliva and said, We need to change tables." Li Fan picked up his plate and continued to eat as if nothing had happened. "Interesting." The bald man put down his drumstick and looked at Li Fan. "This year's newcomer is a bit interesting." Hall master! A disciple suddenly rushed into the hall and stumbled all the way to the front of the bald man. "Why are you panicking? What a scandal." The bald man frowned. That disciple's words almost made him lose his mind. "Hall master." Tonight, the smoke signal in the front hall did not rise. Chapter 638. What? The bald hall leader immediately stood up, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. These demon bastards' movements are actually so fast. He clenched his fists, pulled out his sword, and chopped down on the table. "Brothers, prepare for battle." With the hall leader's order, all the disciples in the hall stood up, took out their weapons, and rushed out of the hall to the streets outside. On the streets, even more disciples of the Sword Sect started to move. These disciples of the Sword Sect all came from various sects, but they were all well-trained and uniformly ran towards the gate. There was already a white-faced man standing on top of the city wall. He wore a purple robe with arrow sleeves and had a sword hanging from his waist. His left hand pointed downwards, while his right hand rested on the hilt of his sword. His voice was like a bell, clearly entering everyone's ears. "Swordsman team, immediately go up the city wall and prepare sword chi to attack from afar. Swordsman team, hide on both sides of the city gate and wait for a surprise attack. Pugilist team, prepare to open the gate and face the enemy." The sword sect was divided into 3 groups: swordsman, and pugilist. Swordsman was a martial artist who was good with swords, swordsman was an expert with blades, and pugilist was an expert with fists and had learned a certain amount of hard qigong. They were responsible for charging at the front. Then the one commanding is the Night Rain building. Lu Zhu pointed and then said to Li Fan, "He is quite calm and has a good command. Why is this like commanding a group battle in an online game?" Li Fan felt that it was a bit childish, but Lu Zhu said, "This is the tactic that the Night Rain building uses. It is the simplest method, but it has the greatest effect. In the world's 4 alliances, each alliance has a battlefield commander." Lu Zhu's explanation was easy to understand. This Night Rain building seems to be the new commander of the Sword Sect. Understood. Li Fan more or less understood this concept. After all, there was a high chance that there would be a war between the 4 alliances, and there would be a conflict with the Demon Sect. If these alliances were to fight, the scale would not be small. Without a suitable commander, it was indeed not suitable. Although they had not passed the final test, Li Fan and the rest also ran out, went up to the top of the city wall, and looked down at the devil cult disciples. The number of people in the evil faction was indeed huge. Below the city walls, there were no less than 300 to 400 people. Although it was a mix of good and bad people, they definitely had the advantage in numbers. In this world, all the martial artists who liked to do evil had all joined the camp of solipsism. With Li Wei as their backer, they would naturally be more presumptuous. "Where's your sword-leaning White Queen? Let her come out and show her face." Below the city wall, a white-haired man walked out from the Devil Cult's camp. He looked at the people on the city wall and licked his lips. "If it's only you guys, I won't be happy." The white-haired man's smile carried a hint of ridicule, causing the swordsman to feel extremely unhappy. That Baldy was a hall master of leaning sword. Moreover, he was the chief hall master, and his status was not low. He immediately pulled out his treasured sword and pointed it at the white-haired man below as he roared loudly. "SK, Bald Eagle, you madman, full of big talk. Today, I'll definitely take your head with this treasured sword of mine." Li Fan's eyes sharpened as he thought, "This person is actually the Bald Eagle." He glanced at Lu Zhu, who nodded too. "Ha ha ha, isn't this Wang Chen?" The Bald Eagle was not annoyed and looked at the burly bald man named Wang Chun with a smile. "You used to be a nobody in solipsism. Why have you become the chief hall master of leaning sword in the blink of an eye? Even a nobody like you can become the chief hall master. It seems that leaning sword isn't that great after all. Damn it, fuck." Wang Chun was infuriated and was about to jump down to fight with the Bald Eagle, but he was stopped by Night Rain Pavilion. Although Night Rain Pavilion spoke gently, there was a force that could not be rejected. Every word he said was clearly heard by everyone. "Those who come are guests. Friends, why don't you come in and take a seat first? Otherwise, if word gets out that you all die outside, I'm afraid outsiders will say that leaning sword doesn't treat its guests well." The Bald Eagle didn't seem to care at all, even though he threw a few words at him with a spear. No, I'm a very casual person. I don't like people being polite to me." The Bald Eagle smiled and stretched out his hands. True Qi gathered in his palms. "Why don't you come down and we can have a good chat?" With that, he threw 2 heads on the ground. It was Qing Feng and Ming Yue. "I chatted with the 2 of them for a while just now and we had a good chat." In an instant, the anger of all the disciples of Leaning Sword immediately soared. Qing Feng and Ming Yue were the 2 door gods of Leaning Sword. They were very strong and had a very easygoing personality. At this moment, the 2 of them only had their heads left. They were thrown on the ground, and one of them was even stepped on by the Bald Eagle. However, I didn't have enough fun chatting with them. I hope I can chat with you guys a little more happily. Bald Eagle, you're courting death. Wang Chun could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. At this moment, he wished that he could cut this Bald Eagle in half with his saber. Night Rain Pavilion could not stop him. He had already jumped down. A height of more than 20 meters was nothing to an expert. Wang Chun held his treasured saber and landed on the Bald Eagle's head in the blink of an eye. He slashed at the Bald Eagle's head. This saber strike was filled with terrifying energy, as if Pango had split the heavens and earth apart. However, the Bald Eagle sneered. He leaned to the side and struck Wang Chen's saber with his claw. With a clang, Wang Chen's saber was knocked askew. At the same time, there were 4 finger marks on the blade. It could be seen how terrifying the Bald Eagle's finger technique was. "Wang Chun, you little shrimp, you're still too far away." The Bald Eagle laughed. Taking advantage of Wang Chen's unguarded state, he grabbed Wang Chen's chest and pierced his 5 fingers directly into Wang Chen's heart. This Wang Chen's heart was about to be dug out. The Bald Eagle had a smug smile on his face. He seemed to have foreseen Wang Chen's death. However, at that moment, a figure suddenly appeared behind him. The Bald Eagle seemed to have sensed something and looked back in surprise. But before he could turn his head, that person's palm was already on his back. Bear King Seal. Puff. A bloody hole appeared in the Bald Eagle's lower abdomen. He looked at his lower abdomen in shock. He did not even know what had happened. "This palm strike is for Tang Ang," as Li Fan spoke. He took a step forward and punched the Bald Eagle's chin. Bang! The bald eagle's head was smashed into minced meat. Only a headless corpse was left, falling into the snow. This punch is for Qing Feng and Ming Yu, Li Fan added coldly. Chapter 639. Li Fan killed the bald eagle in 2 moves. This move shocked everyone present. Who was down there? Night Rain Tower could not help but ask. Seems like they are here to recruit new members. One of Yi Jian's men answered. Recruit new members? Night Rain Tower raised his eyebrows and pointed. The enemy's general is dead. Now is the time to follow up. Assassin team, go. Under his command, the city gate opened, and the hundreds of sabermen who were lying in ambush behind the gate immediately rushed out. Like a black torrent, they surged into the enemy camp in an instant, killing the devil cult disciples until they threw away their helmets and armor, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. In less than the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn, the demonic cult disciples were defeated and fled. Yi Jian's men were excited when the demonic cult disciples were killed. They shouted and celebrated their victory. All right, everyone clean up the battlefield. 10 minutes later, everyone retreat to the city wall. Night Rain Tower ordered everyone. This is just the enemy's vanguard. Their main force will arrive at any time. Night Rain Tower had already predicted the enemy's hostility. Everyone firmly believed his words. Under his order, they quickly cleaned up the battlefield and retreated to the city wall. This time, the enemy has suffered a loss. They will definitely not let this go. Night Rain Tower ordered the guards, guard the city gate well. Do not let anyone pass. He then walked to Wang Qin's side. This brother is already lying on a stretcher. Don't be so impulsive in the future. Rest well. So, sorry. Wang Qin's face was full of shame. Obviously, he felt that he was too impulsive this time. After taking care of the surrounding people, Night Rain Tower and Li Fan met in the meeting hall. Night Rain Tower walked in and cupped his hands towards Li Fan. Yi Jin's leader, Night Rain Tower, greets Chief Escort Li. Huh? Li Fan was a little surprised. You recognize me? He has already changed his bones. Logically, no one should be able to recognize him. Just now, Chief Escort Li used Ursa Major Seal. I saw it clearly. Therefore, I made a presumptuous guess. If I guessed wrongly, please forgive me. Damn, I've met another intelligent player. Li Fan was most afraid of this kind of people. Night Rain Building, Dong Yi, Lu Zhu, and the like. They were too good at scheming, and it was impossible for him to guard against them. Li Fan was better at fighting, but he was not as good at brainstorming as these people. A person must face up to his own strengths and weaknesses and not think too highly of himself. Actually, it's not that I'm very smart. It's just that I've studied Chief Escort Li's martial arts. Night Rain Tower seemed to have guessed Li Fan's thoughts. He smiled and explained, Chief Bodyguard Li has used this Bear King seal many times. It shouldn't be hard for others to recognize it. Her body slightly changed into the shape of a fierce tiger, and her hands were placed in front of her like tiger claws, as if she would pounce at any time. As expected of a beast immortal, her Xingyi martial arts is really good. Li Fan couldn't help but think, if he fought her with the Black Tiger Emperor, what would the outcome be? Thinking of this, Li Fan couldn't help but feel itchy. Kumo, you're still messing around at this time. Night Rain Tower berated, causing Jean Kumo's face to turn slightly red, snorted, and turned her head away. Li Fan and Lu Zhu looked at each other. This insufferably arrogant Jean Kumo seems to have some special feelings for Night Rain Tower. I'm sorry, although Kumo's temper is not good, she is not a bad person. If she has offended the two of you in any way, I apologize on her behalf. Night Rain Tower cupped her hands towards Li Fan and Lu Zhu, but Li Fan waved his hand, indicating that it's fine. To be honest, although my leaning sword has many elites, we are a group of dragons without a leader. Night Rain Tower's words made Li Fan and Lu Zhu start to guess. Leaning sword is a group of dragons without a leader. What does this mean? A few days ago, our alliance leader Luo Shuewu, in order to practice the 9-heaven mystical ice technique, accidentally went berserk and sealed herself in ice. Because of this, Zhang Xiaotian went out to find a famous doctor, wanting to undo the ice seal on Alliance leader Luo. And Guamingming guarded the ice cave, protecting the Alliance leader day and night. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.